Hello, hello. We are back with another live, my friends. I don't know why it's already being weird. That's okay, because we always fight through and figure it out. I hope everyone's doing good today. As you see by the title, it says "We Miss You, Charlie." And today we will be going over I guess the title said his best debates, and we'll be making our decisions. We'll find out if we like it or not. But before we get to that, since this is an episode about truth, we are going to continue reading rules. Let's see if you can see that. 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson. And we're going to do rule number 8 since we're talking about truth today. I know, Hustler. It's kind of crazy, dude. But let's read the meaning of the rule. And the rule is tell the truth or at least don't lie, which I believe Charlie did to the best of his ability. So to tell the truth is to bring the most habitable reality into being. Truth builds edifices that can stand 1,000 years. Truth feeds and clothes the poor and makes nations wealthy and safe. Truth reduces the terrible complexity of a man to the simplicity of his word, so that he can become a partner rather than an enemy. Truth makes the past truly past and makes the best use of future's possibilities. Truth is the ultimate, inexhaustible natural resource. It's the light in the darkness. See the truth, tell the truth. Truth will not come in the guise of opinions shared by others, as the truth is neither a collection of slogans nor an ideology. It will instead be personal. Your truth is something only you can tell, based as it's on the unique circumstances of your life. Apprehend your personal truth, communicate it carefully in an articulate manner to yourself and others. This will ensure your security in your life more abundantly now. While you inhabit the structure of your current beliefs, this will ensure the benevolence of the future, diverging as it might from the certainties of the past. In your life, if your life is not what it could be, try telling the truth. If you cling desperately to an ideology or wallow in nihilism, try telling the truth. If you feel weak and rejected and desperate and confused, try telling the truth. In paradise, everyone speaks the truth. This is what makes it paradise. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Okay. So the first thing I want to show you, I didn't even put that on the stage. Okay, just so you guys can see. I'm so sorry. I should have put it, but yeah. So he has a picture for every chapter, and this is his picture for truth. So let you guys see that for a second. You guys start voting on the poll yet? You did. Okay. So we're like almost evenly split right now. I closed it. That's okay. I'll bring it back up. All right. I want to show you guys this little video someone made to remember him. It's pretty low-key kind of sad. Let me move this out the way. How's everyone doing today? That's in the chat. Hope you're all doing good. Let me remove that. We're going to share our screen of our Instagram. Hopefully YouTube lets me play this and keep it in. Okay, let's watch this. It's good.
Sound a little trip.
Oh, Charlie, I'll miss you.
Yeah. I'll miss you too, Squeaker.
Charlie, will I ever see you again?
Sure you will, kid. You know, goodbyes aren't forever.
Then, goodbye, Charlie. I love you.
Yeah. I love you too.
Let you watch it one more time.
Where are you going?
Sound a little trip.
Oh, Charlie, I'll miss you.
Yeah. too, sweetheart.
Charlie, will I ever see you again?
Sure. Sure you will, kid. You know, goodbyes aren't forever.
Then, goodbye, Charlie. I love you.
Yeah. I love you too.
Okay, there's that. Now we'll get into some of his best. Oh my goodness. Now we'll get into some of his best debates. My camera just totally was like, forget you. I'm just gonna fall. Nice. That's real nice. How's it look? All right, that looks fine. Kids can focus on learning now. I mean, we'll watch the debates, but they should be able to articulate and debate the ideas that they're claiming to be the best, no? Especially since they're supposed to be learning. Like, that was a stupid comment. Anyways, we're going to watch this video, guys. I hope you like it. I think there'll be some good debates.
About, gun violence. I could ask about anti-Semitism on campus. But I feel like with an opportunity like this, I would really appreciate some personal advice. I'm here at the University of Pittsburgh as a
Raptor, no one's forcing them to go to the event. They're grown-ups. Grown men and women. No one's forcing them to go. All that chaos. There's a bunch of events and things that go on at campuses. So you said you obviously want to shill for Israel. I hope they turn on you like they did him. Well,
social work major, and I'm really passionate about it. However, I have found
I haven't even said a word about
that I'm
Israel.
leaning a
You're
little
just
bit more
talking
Republican, and I
nonsense.
feel like I come at a standstill with that. And I really just want to get your advice moving forward for myself. There's some obvious things I think you can think that would conflict, obviously. I guess that's kind of my question. What advice do you have for me as a Republican aspiring social worker?
What would conflict?
I don't know how to say it properly.
I think I can help. The social work industry is very much about a perspective generally of that people in poverty are there permanently and not trying to break people out of poverty into the middle class or higher levels.
Right.
And that's why the Democrat Party and social work are very intertwined.
Right, exactly.
They view poverty not as a series of choices, but as a station in life that is immovable largely.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. That's why my personal focus is on the children in underprivileged communities, because I personally feel like they don't choose to be put in that position.
No.
But I'm having a little bit of a difficult time empathizing with the older generation of underprivileged, and not in every community, but I don't know how to not sound bad.
Pretty sure both sides
I
made
know
it political
you are
before they
great at
both knew
not
the
sounding
facts.
bad when you say stuff, but I don't want to say something that
You can be biased and just look at and blame one
way
side.
to look
But
at it. And Charlie, that was helpful, actually. The Great Society from Lyndon Johnson.
Or you can
was a
listen
series
to
of
his
policies
views and
that were
actually
designed
learn
to
something.
help underprivileged communities.
Right.
They hurt the very people they were supposed to help.
How?
Well, the reality is it created dependence on government. So you have a
love
lot of
the bake.
single mothers, for example, that are paid more
Yes.
money
He's a good-
not to have a man
good
in the
public
house
speaker.
than to have a man in the house because of the way the math of these aid programs
What do you
work.
mean?
Well, often the way the math of the aid is calculated is if you have an earning husband in the household, that actually causes you to disqualify for forms of federal aid
Right.
that were designed to help you.
Right.
But actually, the best way to get kids in your own household ahead is in a two-parent household, because if you're raised in a two-parent household, you're less likely to end up in jail, less likely to end up in poverty, more likely to graduate from high school. So one of the ways that, if you're asking for advice, I would say for the people around you, even who might lean left, you can recognize their intentions come from a good place.
Absolutely.
But the policies of their leaders have actually betrayed the very people they were supposed to help. And you can let them know, because I believe this is genuinely true. Not just the Republican Party, but our conservative movement. We care about lifting people up from poverty. We just care about actually doing it rather than talking about it. That's
And
what I would say.
the other thing I'll say is that we as conservatives believe that if you're in poverty it's largely because of values, not because of lack of stuff.
Like what values?
Not saving money, spending all of your money in your paycheck as you get it, for example. Abandoning your spouse after impregnating them. Not spending all of your money on alcohol and drugs and instead opening a 401k. So values are the number one predictor of entering the middle class. And there's a great book.
I mean, if you just say it outright, I hate him, but Trump turned. If you hate Charlie Kirk, that means you hate Donald Trump too, and you probably will hate anything they would have done. You probably would have hated if he didn't even show up. God, I don't really get that and how it was a hate rally. I mean, anyone who's ever listened to him knows that he hates his political opponents. I mean, he doesn't shy to make it. I don't know why that one day people thought, oh my gosh, he was just gonna not say anything crazy. He always says crazy shit. That's just how he is. You guys just overreact to everything because everything's so like gotta be on your feelings.
Book called Life at the Bottom. You should read it, by Theodore Dalrymple, who's a social worker in the United Kingdom. It's called Life at the Bottom, where he got into social work because he wanted to help people, and he realized it was not a lack of stuff. It wasn't lack of housing, lack of food stamps. It was that their value system was one that kept them poor. So yeah, really quick, then I want to get to the next question.
I'm just struggling because in all of my social work classes right now, they're talking about all of those things. And
they're wrong.
So what do I do? I'm trying to learn about what I want to do.
I think you need to stay in social work because you're called to do it. But there's an amazing amount of literature from Thomas Sowell to Shelby Steele to Theodore Dalrymple that get down to actual root causes of poverty, which is not lack of stuff, but is worldview. And I think that'd be super helpful.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Trump 2024.
Yes, you want a hat? Thank you. Yes, great.
So I do feel like your worldview can keep you down in the dumps and in poverty, but I feel like there's also a lot of other factors, especially whoever's in power, how the state of the economy is going, and sometimes you can't just save your paycheck because you're living paycheck to paycheck, and everything sometimes has to go. But I bet we all can say there are little things that you could do or not buy or go without to help yourself be in a better place financially. Liberty Lisa said Trump was just being real and honest. Can you imagine if you would have got up there and said, oh yeah, I love everyone and forgive too? Yeah, no, they would have got mad at that too. That's the thing. Like, so no matter what he said up there, they would have got mad. So that's why when these people who are in the comments were getting mad and the dude who brought up Trump, like, no, you would have got mad if he showed up, didn't show up, said, guys, we all need to be peaceful, or guys, I hate every Democrat. They still would have been mad. So for them to sit there and act like it was a hate rally is absolutely insane.
Thank you. According to the way that the asylum laws are written, the entire nation of Mexico applies under
Looks
asylum.
like we're on our next one.
Do you think that you have a right to immigrate to America? Is diversity and inclusion really an American ideal? Are you okay with deporting Asian?
Not because I don't want to listen to it, but the music.
And I'm a first.
Oh, there it goes. It was like an intro. I don't want to get copyrighted.
Hello.
Hi. I'm gonna start off by saying I'm a political science student. I'm a second year here at K-State, and I'm a first generation student.
Try to turn it up a little bit.
Turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just crazy because
Perfect.
DT's saying
Alondra.
people he
Alvis,
hates Charlie and hateful things, but he's just
so
been in the
I just
comments
had a question.
saying
You talk a
hateful
lot about,
things the
like,
whole time.
protecting
I'm
and
just kind of letting you expose yourself. Go ahead. You just sound dumb. You're saying Charlie, you probably think he spreads hate, but yet you're in people's comments spreading hate. So it's like, why would even listen to your opinion?
securing our southern borders.
Stupid
But
as
as
hell.
the granddaughter of immigrants, I think that we get into a lot of complicated disputes with the idea that immigrants are criminals or drug dealers and things like that. So I just want to hear what your opinion is on those expectations or those what do you call it? Those stereotypes that are put on Hispanic communities, Latino communities, and how they change the way people perceive immigration.
Sure. So Thank you for the question. So you said you're the first generation
Yes, I
student
am.
or first generation American?
I'm a first generation student.
Cool, great. Second generation American? Did I hear that right? Or-
Third generation
Cool.
American on my mom's side.
Great.
Second on my dad's.
When your grandparents, then, is that right, came
Yes.
to this country, did they do so through the legal process that was in front of them?
So my father got married to my mother, so he's a legal resident of the United States. She's been here her entire life.
But did
my-
she enter legally?
My great, she did. She's
Okay.
she's born here. Yeah.
Got it.
My
just trying to
grandpa on
clarify.
my dad's side entered in illegally.
Okay. So I'm not here to like insult your grandpa, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Thank you,
we must
Lisa.
be very clear.
I feel the same. But
that
I'm just letting
the
them
type of
expose
immigration that we
themselves.
support is when you follow our rules and you come on our terms, and that you do not break into a country
Literally.
uninvited and you try to cut. in
Can
line.
I add something to that? The reason why he left, and a lot of people in Mexico do, is because
anyways,
of the
let's
political
focus on the
state,
word.
especially in the 70s
guys-
and
people
80s.
say they hate him, let's
when they
focus.
decided to move, they have a government that isn't supportive of their constituents, and because of drug problems, their only choice was to move.
Yeah, I totally sympathize. That's not true. It's never the only choice to commit a crime, and we should not put up with it. And so it is an insult to other immigrants from Vietnam and Laos and Pakistan that have to wait decades in line to morally
That's my opinion on immigration. It's just come through a legal way, apply while you're in your country, because a lot of people just come here for financial gain. You know, we don't even talk about the real people who are going through crazy stuff in life who should be able to come here. But the main thing, the one country is kind of iffy would be Afghanistan, probably. That's in my opinion because of the last war. So I just don't think we should be allowing many people from there because a lot of them hate us. But that was a comment. If you've seen my stream, I've explained that in depth before. But I will be doing another stream talking about Afghanistan, so I don't want to get into that right now. But come through a legal way in the port of entry. You get denied, you get denied. Every single country has a border. And you can't just sneak in. And a lot of these other countries, if you sneak in, good luck. Like really good luck.
equivalent people that come in and just break in. Oh, I have an unstable country. Like half of the world's countries are unstable.
Yeah, but that's why we have the asylum seekers
The
program.
pathway to citizenship.
Which is heavily abused.
And I
we're
agree with
talking
you.
two
I agree
different
with you, Isaac. See, even though you said you don't like your stuff, we're still gonna have a good conversation together. But yeah, a pathway to citizenship, and right now it's pretty bad, and that's why I said we need to overhaul the entire system of asylum, immigration, and actually make it. Because I was looking up the other day, like, how do you become American citizen? It was just so jumbled online. So, what did Anonymous say? The killing of Charlie Kirk was political no matter what side you're on. Any other narrative is deceptive. Do I think he's a martyr? No. I don't think he's a martyr either. I think and a martyr now, not necessarily. I mean, we could look at the midterms and we could look back at that. Anon Moose. Maybe on the midterms, because usually the left wins the midterms. So, and right after that, the race in Virginia just swung radically. So, and especially what just got reported about Virginia today, but we're not talking about that right now. But if you did see that, it's crazy. I mean, everything is political, even video games. Facts. My favorite one, Call of Duty, very
Asylum
political.
seekers and walking into the country illegally are similar but different things, right? And so we have millions of gotaways of people that we have no idea who they are. They're not declaring asylum. They just run across the border.
Well, because they can't. The system doesn't allow other people from Mexico specifically to assign themselves.
Who they are the last couple of years. So look, we just have to be very clear with this, is that if you come into the country uninvited, you have committed a crime and you are a criminal. And we could decide that we're not going to enforce our laws, or we can say that
Lisa, without borders, we have no countries. Without countries, we have no laws. With no laws, we have no boundaries, and only lawlessness and violence. Yep, and we don't have strong ideologies. We don't have a peace, any type of freedom. Like, you have to protect the land that you live in. And Fortunately, that's a border, which a lot of people just feel we should just let people walk in willy-nilly, but that's not. Shouldn't be the case.
That when you are a criminal,
But
you should
I
then
will say
be punished
our
for that
system is
crime,
not good at
aka
all.
sent back to your country of origin because you were not invited. And it is an insult, again, to the Poles and to the Czechoslovakians and from the Senegalese and people all across the world that don't have the proximity or the luxury just to waltz into America.
You call it a luxury to leave a country that has political tyranny and come into a country with opportunity?
Yes, to live in Mexico, to be able to go 100 miles north and break into America. Do you know how many people in Pakistan would kill to be on that border?
That's why we bring them in.
Well, we shouldn't, right? That's the point. And secondly, do you think that you have a right to immigrate to America?
I think that I didn't have a choice. My grandparents made that decision
Okay,
for me.
and I'm not trying to attack your grandparents, but no one has a right to go to anybody else's country. You are invited. It is a privilege, not a right, to come into
So
America.
it's a privilege to live a life that
Probably- you didn't
requires
even
you
hear
to
a word I
have
just
clean
said. That's
water,
okay.
clean
I was
food,
muted.
clean
Yes,
air.
of course it is.
And you have to fight for that?
Yes, it is not.
But we didn't?
Hold on a sec. Well,
Born here,
hold
we
on a
didn't
second.
fight for that?
Well, my ancestors did fight for that, actually, and I'm a very thankful recipient of many generations of Americans that fought for the greatest nation ever
By
to
doing
exist.
what?
And-
Coming here?
Well,
Illegally?
wait, what did my ancestors do?
Came here
They
illegally.
came over here in 1620, fought in the Revolutionary War, fought in the Civil War, fought in World
So
War
because
One,
my grandpa
fought-
Yeah, and my ancestors were forced here. We don't even want to get into that. So I just call myself an American because that's all I've ever known. Like rights and privileges, yeah. You don't have a right to come here. It's a privilege, though. It's a privilege. But you do not have a right to come to America. You could be an outstanding person and you put in your papers and wait your time, and you still might get denied. But that's just how life goes. But you don't get to come here illegally. Like that's not a choice we should not let. And then I believe it's just a misdemeanor to cross the border illegally, but that's still a crime. You can go assault someone and you'll get a misdemeanor. That's a crime. You could go to jail for it. So so they can come over illegally, they get caught. What do you want to do? Just throw them in jail? No, it's like you don't get to come in, like leave. Because the only other option would be to put them in jail for a year or 2 or 3, but now we're wasting our resources. We got to feed them 3 times a day, give them medical care. No, go back to where you came from. That's how I feel about that.
didn't
War
come here in
II.
1620, it gives him no right to
Well,
have a good
no,
life.
The
he can
idea
fill
that
out
there's
paperwork and wait in
unlimited
line
opportunity.
like the
Okay.
rest of the world, and then we can see whether or not it's in our best interest to allow him to come in. And so we have to weigh costs.
I'm
and
gonna have to look
benefits.
into that
I'm
more
not
on-
saying we
on
should
the
have
news.
no.
I don't know a lot
immigrants,
about what
but
you just-
immigration must be a net benefit.
I don't know a lot about what you just said, I'll be honest, but design was limited by design and the globalization efforts from the 80s onwards. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm not a freaking I don't know everything, so but yeah, I will look into that.
benefit for the American homeland and for the American citizen. We have brought in 10 million people in these last couple of years. We have now brought in 5% of the population of Haiti. Nobody is asking these questions. We're just saying, if you want to come in, you can come in. Do you see anything wrong with, I don't know, taking in 5% of the population of Haiti?
Not necessarily, no.
I don't know if you guys know this, but we were only taking in until this last Biden administration. It was like an average of 1 million to 2 million a year. So you can just see when it goes over that, that's like a clear influx, and that's gonna hurt many parts of the system all around the country. That's why now you see a lot of these states are going bankrupt. Like like California and Chicago, and not Illinois. A lot of these states don't have a lot of money because of this last influx of illegals over the last 4 years. And then the fact that they were housing a lot of them or having to keep them in facilities, and a lot of them were able to go to the hospital. So, because the hospital doesn't turn you away, and they will treat you without insurance. So, someone was paying for that. And a lot of people will come to America so that they
If
can.
we have the land and the
have
resources to house them,
healthcare.
it shouldn't be that big deal to bring in immigrants.
Really? So you,
I-
do you think that the American government should first have a obligation to citizens before foreigners? How do you-
Okay, I think we
Oh,
have an
answer.
obligation.
How do you even? Yeah.
Here's the thing.
how do you
Yeah,
even
we're
not
obligated
answer
because
that?
we're citizens to have the rights that we have, but that doesn't mean we can't open up our borders
that's not
when
the
we
question.
have the
Hold on a
process to do
second.
so.
You, being a younger American,
What does she
and
mean by
everyone in the
open up the
audience,
border?
is the first generation in American history to have it be worse off than your parents. So the social, and you agree with that, social contract, poorer, more expensive. So wouldn't it be rational for the American government to say, we're going to prioritize younger generation Americans that are American passport holders and citizens before those in another nation?
I don't.
Like, guys, I'm 26. I don't even know when I'm gonna be able to buy a house. I don't want to buy a house right now. That's way too much money. Like, I would like to have a house, but I don't even see that in the next year or two that I'm gonna have a house, unfortunately.
I don't want to say anything that offends people,
W-
but I've
go
already
ahead.
said it, right? I've already said
Yeah.
it. Whatever. I think that the way we're going about it is wrong, and that if we
I
don't
want
have
to pause it on that point because you said, "Oh, I didn't want to offend people." No, in order to be able to speak, you have to risk offending someone. That's just how life goes. It's just you just don't be deliberately trying to go offend people. No, but speak your, like I said at the start, like your truth is kind of subjective in a way because it's built by your own circumstances. But there is a collective truth at the end of the day, though, as well.
a
But
clear path to citizenship,
The
we
give
won't
and
open
take
up those
type of thing.
opportunities for people to come and seek a good life. But I also think
But
that
it's not-
we are
it's
required
not-
to have those rights ourselves
Seeking a
as
good
American
life
citizens.
is fine. It's a nice added benefit. Our government does not exist to improve the life of foreign citizens. A
But we
government
should be open to the idea of accepting
Of
that.
course we are, if we have our own
Yep.
house in order. We are in chaos right now. We have the most depressed, suicidal, anxious generation in history. Our birth rate is collapsing. Kids can't afford homes.
Yeah.
You guys are drowning in debt. You have to compete you have to compete for jobs against foreigners. Our country is a mess right now. And so when your country's a mess and your home is in disarray and bedlam, your own government should say, time out. I have a heart for the people of Haiti. I have a heart for the people of every country. But you're not coming here until this generation at least has it as good as their parents.
But it's the stereotype that I'm
that's
given
why if you're in the
as a Mexican
start, Lisa, I hope
American
you
to
heard the
fulfill those
passage I read.
standards that people have on
I-
immigration
I
as
don't
well.
share that. I haven't said that here today. There's people
wasn't
from
a
all over
passage,
the
it
world
was
that enter the
part of a
southern border
chapter.
now. There's 118 countries that come across the southern border. But I don't care if you enter illegally from Bulgaria or from Laos or from Mexico or from Nicaragua. Someone who does not have their paperwork when they come in is by definition breaking federal law.
Yeah,
And
but
so then what should we do with someone who breaks with federal law?
But does that
That's
mean
my
that
question.
people, including their children, their grandchildren, including myself,
not
have
you.
to live with the stereotype or the standard set upon me that I am a criminal, I
I'm
am
not
a drug dealer, I am a XYZ?
Okay, so
I don't look at me too, Lisa. But yeah, I don't look at like someone on the street and be like, "Oh my goodness, you're Mexican, you're illegal." It's like, no. Even if I found out you were illegal, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not gonna go call the cops on you. Like, you will get what it comes to you if you decide to come here illegally. Well, now, before you just do whatever you want.
played into that stereotype.
I've heard it many, many times, not from you specifically today.
Okay, but then it's a little bit of a red herring, right? Because we're not even talking about it. I'm not.
Well, my
so-
original question was, what do you think about it?
What do I think about stereotypes?
About the stereotype given to immigrants right now and children of immigrants and people of color
Well,
here.
I can't talk about something I don't believe in. So, I mean, I don't want people to be stereotyped. No different than when you look at a young white man on campus, you think he's a rapist, right? Which is
or a school shooter.
don't.
Well, that's good. No, but that is a
Yeah.
stereotype that is pushed sometimes. Like, oh, if you see a young man on campus, it's campus rape culture. Stereotyping is wrong. It should not occur. But we also must understand that the way that we constitute our immigration policy right now in this country is not in the benefit of the American citizen, and we're acting much more like a colony than a country. And where a country is where you have ties that bind you together, you have a shared history, hopefully a shared language, you have a shared culture, where a colony is you come from anywhere across the world, and so be it.
Yeah, but isn't that like the point of America?
Ah,
Diversity and inclusion and
Hold-
belonging.
Where that's such, I'm so glad you brought that up.
But we're still American.
Where is that in the Constitution or the Declaration that diversity and inclusion, these are false ideals that are taught in school? They're, I guess, nice, but is diversity and inclusion really an American ideal?
I think so.
Where does it say that?
I think that everyone has the right to live out their own individuality, their own lives, in
No,
their own
I know,
way.
but you say the American ideal. Where do you get that from? Yeah, pursuit of happiness for Americans. You're right, because that's what the Declaration
I'm an
was written
American.
for. No, that's fine.
Does that mean I'm not valid here for
No,
having
no,
a diverse background?
No, of course you are, but I'm saying
Yeah.
that why
Where did she even get that from? I'm sorry. It's not what he's asking her.
So can I not express that?
Don't change the topic. You said we should be able to open up the country for people from all across the world.
Yeah.
Why do we believe that is a core belief?
Because we want to help people. That's the point. We came here a
Got
long
it.
time ago. We established a country a long time ago, and we want to have other people come in, I think, to live in the luxury that we live
Got
in
it.
now.
Last question.
I knew you
Are
were...
you okay with deporting every illegal person that's here?
No.
Why?
Because there's some people here that are not represented well by the media. There's a lot of illegal immigrants here that are working their butts off for the life that
No,
they
no,
want.
I don't care if they're working hard. But the point is, what should the punishment be for breaking into a country?
Depends on the crime you commit after
No, no.
you break into it.
Okay,
My thing is, they'll say like, "Oh my goodness, they're such a hardworking person," but they've been here. Hi, cat. But they've been here for 20 years, and they're not even like going, and they still haven't gone through the process. It's like, at some point, we got to figure out what to do with that. So, do we just let them stay, or do we make them go? That's a hard choice. But when we look at how much in debt we are and stuff right now, I don't know. That's a hard question for me to figure out. But at the same time, as they didn't go through the process they needed to.
no, that's it. I'm talking about just the crime is breaking in. What should the punishment be? I break into somebody's home. What should their punishment be?
Can you repeat that?
Oh, so if you behave after you get here, that's fine. So to play that out, if someone comes into your dorm room uninvited and they do the dishes and laundry, they can stay?
If I'm not going to do my own dishes, heck yeah.
Hell no.
They're doing my dishes for me? Cool. If they don't kill me, I'm not dead. It is what it is, man.
Well, they are killing a lot of Americans, but
You say they. Like they are?
Yes,
like
they.
all illegal immigrants kill people? That's crazy.
Many illegals do. Actually, the crime rate for illegals is far above that of native-born Americans. And even if it wasn't,
Okay.
it would not be there. No, but it's just interesting. The punishment for the crime of breaking into a nation should be what it is in Switzerland and Israel and Hungary. Every person who breaks into a nation uninvited goes back to their country of origin, period.
So why
End
is
of
there an
story.
emphasis on the southern border?
Because most people come illegally through the
Through
southern
the
border.
southern border.
10 million people have come across the southern border. And by the way, do you have any concern for the 320,000 missing kids that have also been sex trafficked across the southern border?
Of course I do.
But who's doing the sex trafficking?
A handful of people, not
No.
everybody else.
320,000. That's a lot.
That's a
The
lot of
children.
people.
Yeah, but each one of them has a handler.
I'm just...
So, and that means that 320,000 sex pimps are bringing in sex slaves to this country.
The
Probably a
point I'm
little
trying to
less,
make
but that's a
is
decent
that
point.
we categorize all illegal immigrants under the same thing: sex traffickers,
No, I'm
drug
not-
dealers.
Am I
and
doing
by
that?
you saying all
No.
illegal immigrants
No,
have
no,
to
no.
be deported,
Yes.
you're implying that all
I'm
of
not
them
implying
are
anything.
doing these
I'm being
terrible things,
super
and not a
clear.
small percentage of
No,
them.
well, it's not small, actually. 320,000 out of 10 million is not small, actually. That's a
Lisa said, "We are called to love all people, but we are also a country supposed to keep our citizens safe first. I really wish schools taught history instead of indoctrination. Yeah, because I history is my favorite subject. It's literally my favorite subject. I love it. But you're right. We are supposed to keep our citizens safe first. In
Serious number, that's
Bottom line.
3.2% of all people that came into the
Simple.
country are connected to sex slavery in some way. That's insane, actually. 3.2% are connected to sex slavery. That's like a lot. But anyway, so
1% is
I
too
wanted to
much.
make clear, if you come into a country uninvited, definitionally you are a criminal.
We're just not going to agree.
It's fine. Then
That's
final
okay.
question: what is a
it
criminal?
is a crime though.
What is a criminal?
Someone who
what is
commits
it?
a crime.
Would you agree with the definition that a criminal is someone who breaks the law?
I try to
Here's
be.
where I'm thinking.
I mean, I obviously have my own beliefs, but I try to keep it non-biased. And if someone on here wants to come and have a different view, I'm not gonna shut them down, shame them, or treat them like shit for it. We can talk. Might still disagree, but I'd rather talk about it.
Here's the thing. I know how he's going to turn it, and I don't fully
It's
agree.
not a matter of turning it. It's a very ABC sequence. If they're not criminals, then tell me what a criminal is. And a criminal is obviously someone who breaks the law. Someone who comes across the southern border broke federal law. Therefore, they are a criminal.
Okay, then we can just disagree.
But you have to tell me what a criminal is, though.
Trump!
Oh, Trump. Yeah.
Whoa.
You got to come up to the mic. Okay.
She's right behind me.
Yeah.
I love that one. That was funny.
Can't tell me what a criminal is. Yeah.
She goes, Trump.
It's so sad. It's because if you want to really get down to it, at the
She waited
core,
perfectly
she's
to
a very
throw that
sweet
in
person
there,
who was
too.
there.
That was
the
funny.
left cannot define core terms. Criminal, woman, racist, democracy.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Hold on.
That I don't like, because are you telling me that until you graduate, you're not capable? Like, really? There's people who are 50, 60 years old going back to college. Are they not? How are you? What did she just say? I'm sorry.
You're in front of an audience like yourself, debating college kids who are unprepared to.
Yeah, unprepared. They go to school every single day. How are you unprepared? What are you doing? Just getting coffee and walking around? That's I don't understand. Or maybe they should be making them prepared. Interesting statement she made there. Kind of disrespectful to those around there who actually feel like they're capable or prepared.
Speak in front of an audience
Think
like
for yourself.
yourself.
She should have said, "Why are you trying to speak to me when I'm unprepared?" Don't put your beliefs on other people.
Hold on. You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a
so
registered
That's
voter.
another
you
good
vote.
reason.
So I'm talking
you're,
to.
you're a voter. So if you're just a college student unprepared, why are you allowed to vote? Because a lot of these issues they're talking about have to do with voting and who's going to be in power and this and that. So if you feel so unprepared, I mean, they should be able to vote, but that's just my question. Why are you voting? If you can't sit there and debate your idea or your values or what you believe and what you voted for, you can't debate it because you're not a prepared college student, but you can sure vote. Goodness.
Voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today.
That's
Yeah?
ridiculous. That's
Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Then a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you could see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel?
Sure, that makes her feel terrible.
That's not comedy.
Probably.
That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris because she's probably going to lose Pennsylvania.
Look,
But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's
to
what we're doing here
voters.
today. It's an open
I
mic,
think that you push a dangerous agenda.
such
How
as.
is it dangerous?
Your stance on abortion rights, for example.
Oh, also, I was gonna say, here we go. Let's get into it,
Okay,
y'all.
so
So let me ask a question.
Oh, I forgot
What
Vivek was here.
What is your name?
Gene.
Gene. And what is your understanding of the current Republican Party's stance on federal intervention in abortion?
Well, I know that they want to bring it back to the states, right?
So it sounds like you do know that the Republican Party's current stance on abortion is they're against a federal ban on abortion.
I do
And we're
understand
talking
that,
about a
yes.
presidential election as the
Yes.
important election that we're talking about here.
I understand that, yes.
Great. So again, I think this open dialogue is great. I think it's great you're here challenging Charlie, and I think it's great that he's willing to travel campuses across this country to talk to the next generation. We need more conversation. Now, where's the disagreement, though, on content? Because you could criticize style or why you're talking to people
Listen,
or dunk
my-
on someone personally, but
That's
where
a
do you
good
actually
question,
disagree?
because-
with
I
the
agree
substance?
with the way that you edit content and specifically frame it so that people look bad talking to you. The way that you edit your content.
we post unedited content.
That's what I was gonna say. He doesn't edit things to make people look bad. Like this whole time we've been watching, there's been no edits besides that one little intro where I skipped through. But when they get down to talking, we get to see the whole conversation.
Let me just
The only thing she could say about that would be when if he did like a little video on a certain clip, yeah, he could probably talk about it before to lead people to a certain thinking and then play that. But that's just making a point and providing evidence and then letting people decide for themselves.
let me just ask you one thing though, because personal
Interesting.
insults can fly in all directions. Where is an area where you have a disagreement with the conservative movement, with Donald Trump, with Charlie Kirk, perhaps with myself? I was a presidential candidate last year. I think we need to talk about that more in the open, and the more we do, the stronger our country is going to be. We got a long line of people, but I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement, and I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would too.
Just in
Anything.
any
relating,
political.
relating to any political topic where you have a disagreement. Let's air it.
Okay. I disagree with some of the laws that are being pushed in Congress that are against the LGBTQ community and the trans community.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to give you my view, and then I want to hear yours.
Okay.
My view is that if you're a fully grown adult, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want, dress how you want, marry who you want if you want, if you're
Okay.
over the age of 18.
I agree.
But you are not free to indoctrinate children in schools who are not yet of the age of consent. You are not free, just as you're a 17-year-old or a 15-year-old can't get a tattoo on their own, I don't think that you should be able to go.
Oh, I'm glad they muted that. But yeah, Lisa said, I did think all murder should be illegal, including the unborn. So I disagree with Trump on that. Fair enough. I mean, a lot of people have that hardline stance. When I try and think about politics, I just try to have a compromise because they're never going to let this go. Because they never will. That's why I think it's fine it went back to the states, because if they truly feel so passionate about a certain issue, now they can go take it up with the leaders who they can actually reach and stop yelling at a president. Go talk to your council people. Go talk to your senators.
Until the age of 18. And so the lines that I draw here is that men are free to claim to be women and swim in swimming pools. You're not free to claim trophies in a women's sports competition. You're not free to enter a women's locker room. You're not free to change a language, and you're not free to actually indoctrinate our children who are under the age of 5 in schools. Do we agree on the fact that adults should be able to live freely while still treating children differently? If so, we're on the same side of this issue.
Listen, I agree with the majority of what you said. However, I don't think that you're understanding the implications of the laws that are trying to be passed.
Well, give
Look,
us some examples.
We got a head start in the conversation. We got a long line behind you. But
Yeah.
my only ask is, forget the personal attacks or the stylistic attacks. Focus on substance. The more we debate that, the stronger we're going to be as a country. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I don't think you're focusing on substance, though. That's the issue.
Hold on.
Man, he tried to run for president.
Intentionally tried
He
to provoke
had to
substance
focus
out
on
of you.
substance. You didn't
And
give
you
him
said,
anything.
well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass. I have to ask, what laws are
Law.
you talking
That's
about?
literally just said an example.
Can you be
please.
specific?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. But this is what you do. This is what you do. You take people and you put them under the spotlight and you...
Well, hold on. I didn't ask you to come up here. You
Yeah,
voluntarily
you
came to
so
the
if you
front
had
of the
an
line.
issue,
You
why
didn't
didn't
have to do that.
You're purposely antagonizing people on campus, asking people to
How?
come up by spreading your...
That's the thing. She said, "Oh, I didn't even know what this was." But then she comes over. Maybe she should have looked it up on her phone and just did a little bit of like 10 minutes of research of what he does and what Turning Point does. And then she would have known. And then she probably could have wrote down the law she was upset about and then spoke about it. But she didn't even do her research. But then she sits here and says he has dangerous, what he's saying is dangerous. Honey, you don't even know what you said you didn't even know what he does. So
weird agenda.
How? What agenda is that? I'm confused, though.
So, Charlie, I'll
add her
say
to the
this.
tally of destroyed.
We'll end on this and we'll go to the next question. When I was 18, and I'm not going to blame you for this, I also took for granted a lot of the stuff that the media force-fed me, because that's what you know at the age of 18. You say there are some vague laws making their way through Congress that are hostile to
Do
trans
you
community.
know how...
I don't think those
do you
laws
know
actually
about...
exist.
But they compromised in slavery by agreeing they would outlaw purchasing new slaves, which gave them a loophole to breed humans. Yeah, just like the 3/5 compromise. All those compromises back then were pretty terrible. But I see what you're going with that. Should you compromise on something you find so deplorable? That's a good point. It's a very good counterpoint.
But I don't blame you
Listen
if
to
that's
me.
what the cable media is feeding you. But let's get to the specifics, and then we're
I'm
able
going
to
to the
actually have an
bathroom.
open dialogue. And that's one of the things I've learned over the last 20 years.
I think that the issue
that's part
is
of-
we're getting our
part of
media
learning
from
our
different
country.
sources. Both people are getting media from these skewed sources. The facts that you're presenting are not always correct.
And that's why we're here with no TV screens between us. So people who have policy-based substantive disagreements, we invite those. I think that's how we're going to get our country back. And as it relates to trans, which you brought up, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want. You're not free to force that onto somebody else, or especially kids. And if we agree on
Thank
that,
you
we
very
make some
much.
progress.
Thank you. Disagreements, yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I tend to lean liberal on a lot of issues, but specifically on immigration, when I hear about like the Haitians in Ohio, closer, yeah, taking over cities, and the thing about eating people's pets, I don't know if that's true.
It is true.
But I was wondering if you could speak a little
I'm back,
bit.
I'm back, I'm
on that
back.
Specifically,
Hope I didn't
and I'm
miss-
kind of
oh, I
torn on the
just got
election,
back.
So if you could also
Just in
speak
time.
on if we have more instances like that in the future, if Kamala Harris gets voted.
Yeah, it's a great. First of all, thank you for coming up to the mic. And I want to try to win you over as a liberal for Donald Trump. So you're going to give me a chance, okay?
I will, sir.
All right. Okay.
Did he say he was
that
a
is a true open mind. So
leftist
I
or
appreciate that.
something? I missed it.
Number
That's
one,
okay.
we have accepted 5% of the Haitian population in this country in the last couple of years. I have nothing against Haitians. I know some Haitians. We can all agree when you accept 5% of any country's population, in addition to all the other mass migration we have, it's too much. It's unsustainable, and a government must start from this core premise. It must have an obligation to fulfill a better life for its own citizens before it opens its border to non-citizens. It's a very, very basic, fundamental thing. And as I said earlier, everybody in this audience is seeing their future worse off than their...
I mean, that with that point, that's kind of like the thing with U.S. aid or AID, whatever you want to call it. Like, there's a lot of things that could, with that money that we were sending out to other places for just to push our agenda, like, we could use a lot of that money to fix up things and put in certain programs or just try different things to help the American. Like, you could have even they could even start like a help fund for younger kids nowadays, or just anyone, people who need homes, or, there's a lot we could do with the money we send to places for weird stuff. Like, if you looked at some of this, like, I think one was like a Broadway LGBTQ play in another country, and it's like, why were we funding something like that?
Parents for the first time since George Washington. That's a big deal. Usually, at least kids are as good, if not better, than their parents, and we have that broken. As far as Donald Trump goes, there are 3 things I want you to think about when voting for Trump. Number 1, home ownership. I imagine you want to own a home sometime in your life, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. In order to own a home, you would have to make $125,000 a year right now just to be able to get the mortgage. That doesn't count your medical expenses, your student debt expenses, your credit card expenses. When Trump was president, it was $75,000 a year. We were building millions of new homes. Incomes were going up. Why is it that the housing prices have gone up so much? Because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have spent $6 to $7 trillion of unnecessary federal spending, flooded the zone with these trillions of dollars, which have inflated asset prices. Number 2, as a liberal, I imagine you don't like war, right? You don't like endless war. Under Donald Trump, it was the first president in 40 years where we had no new wars. No Iraq war, no Syrian war, no Russian-Ukraine war. Under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, we have the Russian-Ukrainian war that we've spent $250 billion on. We have the terrible situation in Israel and Gaza. I'm very pro-Israel. We can all agree, though, not a good situation there, right? Not favorable. It's just bad. A lot of human suffering, not good to witness. Under Donald Trump, none of that happened. In fact,
He didn't even mention the terrible Afghan withdrawal and our 13 service members who got murdered.
brought peace to the Middle East. We had the Abraham Accords, and we had a stable international circumstance. The final thing is the border. Under Donald Trump, the southern border was the most secure it was in American history, with border crossings at an all-time low. Under Kamala Harris, 10 million people have come across the southern border into this country. We have no idea who they are. They're coming into our communities. Crime is increasing. They're eating ducks and geese and cats in Springfield, Ohio. And that's just like a silly example. It's totally true, by the way.
Why?
I still never really looked into that story. I found
looked
it
it up
so
'cause
wild.
The reason I'm asking you is because there's a lot of misinformation. I feel like because when I first heard about your side of the story is what I heard, and then after that, I was hearing that there's no proof of that. So why is that?
Well, there is proof. I mean, we have tons of video I could show you of residents saying that my cat was taken by a Haitian yesterday morning and was grilled on an open fire. They won't accept it as a police report. I know way too much about Springfield, Ohio police reports right now, but they won't accept it as a police report because it's an animal control problem. It's just, again, you have to just look at the residents. Either they're all
to do more research on that. I just kind of let that go. As
I'm
like
not asking you to vote for Trump based on, cats being kidnapped and
what's
grilled and barbecued. I am saying, though, that it begs the question of, can we sustain 10 million people? I want you guys to understand how many 10 million people is. We have 10 million illegals that have come to the country, which is the population of New Jersey. Okay, that is an unsustainable amount. Under Donald Trump, we had the border secure and it will stay secure. So those three things. We had a great economy under Trump, and it was easier for you guys to own homes. We had no wars, and you guys are closer to World War III than ever before. You guys that are all, by the way, military age, I hope you don't get into World War III because you might be drafted under the current circumstance, and you guys might laugh. But think about who is endorsing Kamala Harris. Dick Cheney, Leon Panetta, Liz Cheney. These are the warmongers of 20 years ago that got us into these wars. So I am not fear-mongering here, guys.
Sorry, I was not looking at the chat. Would you say, do you think there is a better way to do government? What about just citizens randomly? What about just citizens randomly selected as representatives like Greece? Do you think there's a better way to government? I do not think there's a better system of government. And then they just randomly select people. Depends. There's just a lot of radical people in this country. And just, what's the population of Greece? Oh, better help me answer your question. Greece. 10 million. I mean, in their circumstance, I could see that being okay because, like, that's just a state. Like you just said, 10 million people is this population of, I think he said New Jersey or something. But yeah, that's like a state here. So I don't necessarily know how I feel about randomly selecting people. Maybe if we put like an educational value thing behind it to where they have to go through they have to be taught certain things and then they could. But a lot of people are not educated about even how the government runs. So So I don't know. I just don't think randomly selecting people would work unless we did some sort of government education nationwide mandated. Then we probably could if people really, really knew.
People that got us into these
Most Americans probably couldn't even pass the civics exam to enter the country. I bet you most couldn't.
failed wars. By the way, this is 9/11 today, and we remember what happened on 9/11, and then we remember our terrible reaction on 9/11 when we decided to invade Iraq and Afghanistan. Let us never do that again. Let us never invade sovereign countries.
Amen.
And I think you would sympathize with that.
I agree.
And this is why we're seeing Bobby Kennedy, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, people that are card-carrying Democrats, vote for Trump and voice support for Trump, because what's happening at the Democrat Party is this very sinister combination. It's a party of censorship, it's a party of war, a party of open borders that is against actual traditional liberal values.
The reason why I just don't outright just agree with the Democratic Party at the moment, I would honestly call myself more of a centrist, but who leaned right this last election? Who knows where I'll lean the next one? Anyways, I just don't like the party right now because I feel like if you don't get along with what is going on, then you're going to be, what's the word, ostracized. You're going to be demonized. They're going to think you're lack of human. I don't know. I just don't like how they operate right now. And they're doing a lot of things that I personally wouldn't ever agree with.
I agree.
So which way you leaning?
Hello, John
that.
from
That's a good
Northeast
answer.
Ohio. John, thank you for coming in. John, was it true, or did you, since you live in Ohio, is it true about the cats and dogs and stuff? Did you hear more about it? Let us know in the chat. Welcome in, my brother. Welcome in. I wish we would privatize our education system and give everyone vouchers. Yeah. Government. I went to private school pretty much my whole life. I went to private elementary school and a public one. And then I went to public middle school, but I went to private high school and I did some private college.
Thanks, man. God bless. Thank you.
Hi, Charlie.
You are right. I will. 1 sec. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just have a question kind of based on affirmative action.
Yeah, my high school was pretty decent about helping people. We had a lot. My high school was actually really diverse. There wasn't a lot of black people because Arizona doesn't have a lot of black people anyways, but at least where I live in Tucson, and they weren't going to a private school because what was it, 40 something grand for 4 years, 10 grand a year, I think. Yeah, I grew up basically Democrat. Yeah,
I'm a
I did.
computer
Up
engineer
until
here
the
at
first
UW
time
Madison.
Trump was in office, that's how my family operated things.
About to graduate, and there's a lot that I've found through research and just general, I guess, my studies. Not only does affirmative action help, minorities, people of color, but also women in general. And there's a lot of facets of engineering, the medical system, and other factors that, because of affirmative action, have helped. I'll just go into something. For example, let's say in the medical field, endometriosis, something like that has not been studied in women due to so little women being in the medical field. Also, for example, cars, the seatbelt is made specifically for the male body. They're only tested with male mannequins, so a lot of women are in risk of dying in car crashes at a higher rate. There's a lot of things that benefit from a diverse group of people, both in engineering and medical fields and education
I didn't even
and
catch her
other
question, but
facets of
we'll
the
continue.
systems. And I was just wondering, without affirmative action, how do you think
Affirmative action.
we can bring these people in to bring a variety of opinions?
Yeah, no, I
and
mean,
views?
just have a meritocracy, right? So you have 3 white men around you. You can see 1, 2, 3. So if one
a lot
supports
around me.
affirmative, no, it's okay. If one supports affirmative action,
Right.
it would mean that you would be okay turning to those 3 men and saying, I deserve the position more than you based on something that doesn't matter more
Not
than something that does
necessarily.
matter.
I feel like that's one facet of it that we're not also paying attention to, is that
Wow, you're
people
moving
that
to
are
Arizona?
graduating from the
That's awesome. Did you pick a city already? Probably Phoenix. That's where everyone moves to when they move here. No one comes to Tucson. Yeah, I live in Tucson, Arizona. But I'm glad you're coming. Washington State. At least you're going to have a good winter. I mean, it's been getting cold every year, but I ride a motorcycle, so that's like my opinion's a little bit biased because I think it'd be cold as hell sometimes in the morning when I have to ride that thing. I had to buy heated gear last year. That's how cold it got.
Same schools. They're graduating with the same degrees.
With lower test scores, though, much lower. Every study of affirmative action, for example, the Harvard case showed that it was nearly 40% lower test scores for people of color versus their white male counterparts and Asian counterparts.
And so how
at
can
some point,
is that like why would that happen? Do you think
why?
it's yeah?
Why?
What causes that? Do you think it's just because like people of color are more like stupid?
No,
or, like,
of course not.
Right.
I mean, people of color come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds that don't prioritize education.
So how do we
That's
fix
a good
those
middle ground.
socioeconomic statuses?
Right, that's an interesting point. Not
think
should
it's
we
pretty
try to
quiet and peaceful in
penalize
Casa
white
Grande.
males that are competent to go run our systems and our institutions. So
Right.
those are two different things.
Casa Grande is that's the in between Tucson and Phoenix. It's closer to Phoenix, depending on what area. But actually, yeah, I've only been to Casa Grande like once, twice. There's this like really weird place out there in Casa Grande where they say it's haunted. I think you could probably look it up. I don't know remember what it is, but it's like a bunch of abandoned structures and there's like a bunch of like demonic things and people have gone there to do crazy things. I went there because I was with my basketball coach and he was like a high schooler or like young. He was probably 18 and I was probably like 15 at the time. He's like, I'm taking you guys here. And we're like, we got there. I was so scared. I don't like horror, scary stuff.
Right.
So what we're doing is our institutions are now becoming less excellent. Our country is not
little
working
tangent.
like it used to.
Sorry, I'm a
because
tangent
we
person.
basically told people that are
Go
very
off on
qualified
random
and very
stuff.
competent that, sorry, we're not going to put a position for you here. For example, the U.S. Secret Service. Let me just give you one example, okay? We can all agree that protecting a president, whether it's Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, is super important, right? But now the Secret Service has said that we want to have 30% of all our agents be women,
failed.
which, by the way, they have lower
Rich
fitness
part.
criteria. So they have less pull-ups, less push-ups, slower mile time.
Oh yeah, that's
I
something
don't like
that's due to,
Scottsdale,
like,
but that's
your-
just personal
Hold on.
reasons because
Exactly.
of,
Yeah, no, but this is affirmative action, right? And so therefore, when
Well, there's like
'cause
fields. Like for
it's
example,
not-
I don't
it's
think that's a
the-
good.
Let
hold
me-
on a
what
second.
is it? Why don't I like Scottsdale? Oh, because of Scottsdale Saguaro, the school. When I was in high school, I played for the best football team here in town. Scottsdale Saguaro was the best football team up there in Phoenix, and I never beat them.
It's like, I just think that's a good example because like
That's the
women
only
will
reason
never
why
be
I
as
don't
strong
like
as
it.
men, at least
Got it. So
genetically.
that's an interesting
So I think
question.
it should be
Will-
something that's
will women-
more like
will women be as-
ideologically based.
will
like,
women be as good at engineering as men, person for person?
not necessarily, but
Okay, well then, how is that different than the Secret Service example?
well, the problem is that
Because
for
the
ex-
male mind is wired different than the female mind. By the way, men will never be as good. Hold on, I'll prove it to you. Men will never be as good at counseling or psychology sessions as women. Men will never be good at nursing or elementary school education as women. We have certain giftings because our brain is wired a certain way. Women are far better gifted at micro topics, so individual connection, empathetic type conversations, healing people that past trauma and wound. Men are much better at macro topics, right? Trying to build a building, put a skyscraper up, trying to talk geopolitics. And I'll prove it to you. When you go and you see 5 women eating lunch, they're probably talking about micro topics, conversations they had, relationships, friendships.
I don't know if you guys know about Scandinavia. It's probably one of the most egalitarian places on the planet. And even then, like the way the jobs are still split up, it's still basically the same like it is here. A lot of women are still choose to not do hard labor or do these other jobs. They still do the same jobs. I think their main thing with this equality thing of what as well is they just want more positions of power. I think that's really what it is. Because it's like, well, are we gonna equalize ditch diggers and trash men? We're gonna equalize that, like, and then when you ask them stuff like that, they don't like that.
Men, they're talking about politics, sports, or the stock market.
That's not necessarily
Oh
true.
yes, you guys all agree, right?
I mean, there's a reason.
No,
I'm
these
here.
are these are bimodal general truths, right? Of course, there's exceptions, but
It's not.
Yeah, Lisa, even if it's cold in the morning and by like noon, it's hot. And then it'll get really cold at night again. But then you spend all day, you could go outside and have a great time.
A general truth, though. I feel like women have the capability of
course they do,
having
but it's
political
not-
conversations.
Of course they do,
and-
but it's not the general wiring or nature
It's
of women.
not. There's no wiring for your brain to like Donald Trump. Like that's not a real thing. I
Hold
feel
on,
like.
but wait a second. But do you think that men and women are made different in our brains? In our
Certain things, but not necessarily. It doesn't like
Like
channel
what-
you
like
to be
what
a
things?
specific thing.
like
Huh?
what things?
Well, like there's like specific wirings to like produce certain types of hormones, and that's like differences that are genetically.
So you don't think
Couldn't
that
that
men
affect
are more
thinking?
likely to like contact sports, more likely to enjoy football, UFC, hunting?
I think that's because of a societal norm in general. Like over
you
a lot
really
of
no,
time.
come on, you're smarter than that. That's not true.
Well,
Hold on.
I mean,
so
it's-
why
she
is
has
There's
a-
women that play football, so like you
She has a
can't just
small
say that.
point there,
and-
but
and-
I still feel like they would still tend to do manly things because when you go look at just like the most basic societies, I don't know if you've ever watched those videos of the tribes in Africa. Like women don't go out and do anything. All they stay back and they cook and they take care of the village, while the men literally go and run for miles all day, chasing things to kill it. That's how it works over there. And then they all get together at the end of the night, eat, crack jokes, wake up, and do it the next. So to say it's just a societal pressure isn't, it's a cop out. It's a decent point, but it's a cop out into the broader structure of the human mind, which we still barely understand.
There
So
are
that's
men
an
that dress
example
in
of women
drag,
that
but
don't
those
do
are
that.
those are not
Sorry.
the general truth of it. So let me just be clear. You think that there's nothing within the female brain in its constitution that makes young ladies more likely?
I mean, being that I'm an engineer, I don't think so. No. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I feel like there's.
So you think if you pick a random lady here that they'd be just as comfortable sitting and watching a 4-hour football game than they were to go get their hair done with their best girlfriend?
Well, I feel like that's kind of diminishing to say, oh, because you're a woman, you will not be able to sit through a 4-hour
That's
football
not
is
what he
field.
said.
Is it diminishing to say a man wouldn't want to go get his hair done? No.
No, I'm sure you get your hair
But
done, right?
that's not what he
Not
said,
really. It's
though.
like 10 minutes in and out, like
Okay,
barbershop.
but you still do it.
She said, I'm a nurse. Lisa said, I'm a nurse. They don't try to help men get into my field, but I welcome them, of course. I just hope my pilot is qualified, whether black, white, purple, green. Right. Right. No, yeah. And the thing is, when I go to the hospital, I don't even know like who's the nurse or who's the doctor. But I at my town, because I went there the other day because I was so sick. I was actually treated by 2 male nurses, which was cool. I guess so maybe they're starting to help men out with that.
It's,
But the point, again, there are certain things that women will take more seriously. For example, women will take a lot longer getting ready for the day than men.
Yeah.
Right? Why?
Because we're held to higher standards to
No,
look pretty.
no.
For example, your hair. How short is your hair? Super short. Mine, it's gonna take longer
What,
to
do,
dry.
do you wear
right?
makeup?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, who's
Because
forcing you to do
want to
that?
look pretty, and it takes.
Yeah, that's not important to me because I'm a man.
Well, right. But would you
but
feel
there's
that
something
way?
in your
but you
wiring-
feel comfortable
No,
not
no,
wearing
it's not
makeup
a-
because of a certain reason.
Well, but you wouldn't feel comfortable wearing makeup?
I can not wear makeup.
But why do you do it?
I mean, like right now, I'm not wearing like anything really.
No, I know, but that's the point is that at some point you wear makeup because there's something within your wiring that says, I want to be presentable to the world. And that wiring honestly is, I want to find a mate to have
I mean,
children.
this question was about affirmative action. I think we're
No,
getting
no,
kinda
it's
off
not.
the
It's actually
subject.
really important because I don't think there's any differences between races, but I think that when it comes to affirmative action, we're saying that there are differences.
Right.
That we're trying to say that things that don't matter should matter. So I don't think race matters. Affirmative
Right.
action
Yeah, you
says
shouldn't
race
What
doesn't
about
get
like
something
women
just
also
because of
in
your skin
fields like
color.
that? Like what I
Well,
explained
I
earlier.
think that's even more dangerous, to be honest with you. If like we're going to say that women should be Secret Service agents protecting Trump.
Not Secret Service. I'm talking about medicine, engineering, that type of
Well,
thing.
hold on. Okay, so should we try to have the same amount of female to male OBGYNs?
I think it should
Hold
be
on.
similar to.
I'm gonna just put my point out there. I do not want women in any form of combat role. That's how I feel. I feel like they can do every other job but combat role jobs. That's just me. I've seen way too many videos of women police officers just getting bested by one guy, and then the community has to run over and help the officer. And then definitely, I don't think they should be in special forces unless if they can pass the qualifications, then you're more than qualified. Then go ahead. But I just don't think they should because we've been lowering standards. So, but now they'll be higher if you haven't just saw the recent thing by Pete Hegseth.
The amount of like
OBGYNs.
like the general
So
population.
hold on, 85% of all OBGYNs are female.
Yeah.
So now should we have parity so that men?
I have an OBGYN that's a man. That's not a problem.
That's not the point.
That's
The
not
point
the
is should we have
question he's
parity?
I think it should be similar to like whatever the.
Got it. Okay. So you're consistent. So women studying in the OBGYN field will be actively discriminated against. So a man can, because we must have parity.
It's not about people in the OBGYN specifically. It's about people in general. Men were, like, for example, women were not able to vote until like less than 100 years ago, basically, right?
What does that have to do with
One
the
second.
field?
So because of that, a lot of the laws, a lot of everything that's set in place was made by men, was excluding women, was creating like reforms and like certain legislations that would specifically.
So she's arguing on the idea of a patriarchy right now. Yeah, I think it did serve a purpose back when the country was extremely racist. I don't think the country's extremely racist anymore. So yeah, I don't think we still need it. It should just be by merit. Give someone an opportunity, but it needs to be merit. And then we also do need to bolster the education levels of some of our poor communities in our country. I feel like that'll help people more than just letting them into I feel like that'll help them more than them going to a third-rate high school and then getting into a really prestigious university and then hoping that they will succeed. You can't say that they won't. We also can't say they will. So,
Support men rather than women because
all starts at the bottom. All starts when they're going to elementary school. That's where we can make our difference. Make them smarter. Make them read harder topics.
women don't have that ability.
Support society. I don't think it was always about
Well,
supporting
for
men.
example, like what about like what I brought up, endometriosis, or like the seatbelt accident, like all this stuff is due because we tend to favor men in specific.
Well, so I just don't believe that. First of all, because
I mean,
research
I
will go
can
where the money
show
is,
you,
and
but-
so if there was money in endometriosis research,
Not much because
well,
men
that's
don't
why.
care.
So maybe it wasn't sexism. Maybe it was a monetary explanation.
Well, who has the money in a society?
Well, actually, women
usually?
control more money than men in the country.
But men, women weren't able to have bank accounts until like less than 100 years ago, so they can't really build that generational wealth.
Do you think it's been a better thing with women's liberation the last 20, 30 years?
Yeah,
I hope a lot of people know, like, you could build you could build great wealth for yourself. I could right now, me, 26-year-old, could start to have the best time of my life with money, have all the money in the world I need. I can die and have kids, and they could squander it all. So you're not going to have generational wealth without solid values in life.
Do you think that's interesting?
And
Do you
even
think women
even then, your wealth could just go away. You just got to hope and work hard.
are happier in America today than they were 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Then why are they the most depressed group in the history of the species? Women are the most miserable they've ever been. Like, why is that?
I don't think that's because we're allowed to have money.
No, I'm
now, or
asking. I'm
because-
asking the answer.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a good
more
question.
liberation, more college degrees, more birth control, less
I
marriage.
would
less
argue
kids.
otherwise. I don't know where you got that data. that,
No,
like, we're
everybody
more
agrees that
depressed.
women are super
Completely
miserable.
true.
Like, as far
Women are far more on antidepressants and other things like that than men. Maybe men don't report it more, but yeah, it's true. But they're also the most free that they've ever been at any point of society. I think vouchers would help that. Sorry, your chat's coming really slow, so I don't know. I'll look back at it in a second.
as versus 30 years ago.
Well, it could be the fact that because women weren't able to go to a psychologist or like before.
Or maybe it's because they're not doing the one thing that they want to do, which is to get married and have children.
Yeah, she's saying that no, it's actually opposite. It's saying that women actually, It says women around the world report higher levels of life satisfaction than men, but at the same time report more daily stress.
Yeah,
So we're just held to.
type in women antidepressant use 2024. It is the highest it has ever been.
But there's like more layers to it than that. It can't just be that. You have
Is
to
there?
look at why are women more likely to go and talk to a psychologist. There's
So that she was trying to make the point that it's because of stress. That's interesting. I feel like everyone is super stressed out.
the differences in that.
So, but I'm just curious. So, do you think women are generally happier in 2024 than they were in 1964?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
But I just had the question of how would you want to fix that? Just like
There's no problem to fix. Pure meritocracy.
no, I'm just saying like how do you bring people with diverse opinions?
Oh yeah, I mean like I don't care that much about. I care about excellence.
So like women, like you used to be
I
studying
don't
into
care
stuff
about
like
putting women in
endometriosis
STEM.
and
I
stuff
care
like
about
that.
being a strong.
No, I'm talking
and-
about like being able to like look into those type of things, like endometriosis, like all this stuff. How do we make that
that's-
safer for
those
other
are-
people without bringing people that care about it?
Not that important to me. I want the country we once had,
Oh.
which was the greatest country ever, where we put excellence and we put superior intellect above like sensitive racial politics. Not interesting to me.
Okay.
Because it was a bunch of white men that were like running the country, and all of a sudden we
I'm
decided.
not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just
No,
saying
good.
that.
Like that's fine. I mean, but when we used to have a country that was based on merit, we were more successful, and we were a better run country, and we're objectively not now.
Yeah.
We're a country
I'm just
can't e-
saying that in
we can't even
engineering, there's
protect
a
a
lot
president
of-
from getting shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts in engineering that because we don't have a diverse look of opinions, then we are putting them like we're putting certain people into more danger, like women in cars. That's like one example.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
All right. Thanks. You're voting for Trump?
No,
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say.
can't.
Yeah. Well, you lied to get a hat, and that shows your
I
character.
didn't lie. I said I would wear it. You said if you wear it.
I said
you
only
have
if you
it.
vote, but that's fine. All right, next question. Hello.
Hi. I
Let her have the hat.
About that. Well, first
can
question,
send it to
why
me.
can't
I'll wear
marriage
it.
be allowed with 2 men or 2 women? That question got me.
Yeah, so I mean, allowed and what it is are two different things. So again, just strictly from what marriage has always been is the idea of 2 separate parts coming in a union to be able to have, hopefully, a lifelong partnership.
I was muted. I was gonna say I probably will disagree with him on this because I don't care. Like, if a man wants to marry a man, go ahead. If a woman wants to marry a woman, go ahead. Like, I don't care. But they also have to respect the values of those who are religious, like super, super religious. And like, that's a dead no because a lot of religious people might find that offensive due to the fact that marriage was supposed to be a covenant between God and the man and wife. So a lot of them find that those marriages aren't valid. But for me, it's more like I'm just looking at it from a law standpoint. Like, the state makes us get married and the state gives us benefits for getting married. And I believe, right? But you get certain tax benefits and other things. So I just believe let people do what they're going to do. But yeah.
To raise kids, adopt kids, or have kids, and to become better versions of themselves. It is the attraction of opposites. And so if you want to redefine marriage, that's fine, that's your contention, but I take a classical view of marriage.
Based on, like, what is that based on what? The
Well,
Bible?
The natural law.
Is that the Bible?
Well, natural law is separate than the Bible, but it's harmonic with the Bible, that's correct.
Okay.
Because what would you say, what is the purpose of marriage?
Marriage is like, I love you, you love me, let's
Got it. So
Let's get together.
Can a 25-year-old marry an 8-year-old?
no.
Why?
Because that 8-year-old is not ready. Like, they
Got it. So at
are
some
not
point,
adults.
so then let's build out your definition more then. Love each other, but also what? What is the purpose? What is the destination of
Three men
marriage?
We are
married
2
5
adults,
women.
we love
Got
each
it.
other.
Fair enough. Okay, we love each other. End of
Right.
story.
End of, well, give me another thing and maybe I'll add to
Okay,
it.
but is that it? Is it about
Right. Soon there's going to be a group of people in this country who probably want arranged marriages. Or if they come from a country in the Middle East, they're probably going to want to marry a 9-year-old. Like, it's
Union, partnership, friendship. What is
I think it's just like, let's get our taxes good. Like, you know, let's just get married. Like, I don't think there needs to be some big crazy
no, that's
reason.
actually, no, I'm not attacking you. I think marriage is holy. And by holy, I don't just mean it in a religious sense. Holy means separate, meaning it should be elevated. It should be celebrated. It's something that is so above the rest. And you just think it's like a tax advantage. And it's fine, because actually most Americans agree with you.
Yeah.
I think marriage is something where we should drop everything, like, wow, two separate parts have just made a lifelong covenant with one another to learn about the other and to grow with each other, and it's difficult. And I think that we've lost that.
I mean, I'm Jewish, and like in Judaism, there's the there's like the when you get married, the religious marriage, and then there's the government marriage. Like you have to get married twice, basically. So I think what you're talking about is probably the religious marriage, like with a priest. I'm talking about governmental marriage.
I'm even talking about government. I'm just saying traditionally our governmental marriage, again, I'm in the vast minority of opinion in the country, this has been the classical view that it's a man and a woman coming together in something sacred and something holy or elevated. Again, that's not...
I would say that's just a Christian marriage.
It's not necessarily Christian. In Judaism, in traditional rabbinical Judaism, Orthodox, homosexual marriage is not recognized.
That is true.
So it's not Christian. In Islam, homosexual marriage is not recognized.
Okay.
So it's not just Christian.
Okay.
So it's Abrahamic.
Abrahamic.
All right, we agree.
Why do we care if there's no father? Like I grew up without a father. I feel like I'm doing fine. I'm doing great.
Why do we care
I'm
that
in
there's
college.
no fathers?
Like,
I'm gonna let her speak. Hold on.
Why are we so towards the father? Why does he need to be there so much?
So just looking at
I mean, my view is that fathers and mothers bring certain values to a household if they're good people, like basing this if they're good people, that complement each other so well that will help kids be better. I mean, just look at the Black community. Let's just keep it. Look at the Black community. There's not a lot of fathers in the home. A lot of them are out there in gangs, shooting things, getting in trouble, doing things they shouldn't, not going to school. So this stuff matters, especially when you have a son. But I feel like even more daughters really love their father sometimes. So and I feel like sometimes men usually love their mom more. Just depends on the relationship, but both are needed. Obviously it can be done without both, but wouldn't you want your kid to have a higher chance of success? And wouldn't you, especially nowadays, wouldn't you want to have a better chance at a successful financial life for your kids? Because we all know it's almost taking two people just to live these days.
Question for me. Do you think what kind of is there any time, and you're being very vulnerable and I appreciate that, when you were growing up, and maybe not, where you said, I wish I had a dad around?
My mom says I did wish for that once at a wishing well. But my mom was great. She supported me, provided me.
No, I'm not. There's not a knock on single moms.
Right.
But was there ever a time maybe?
Yeah, that's why I played that video at the start, because I just found that to be so iconic that was in a Disney movie. You know, because that's like, those are questions his kids are gonna have. Like, they didn't know they weren't gonna see their dad again at the end of that day. That's wild.
Where a more masculine figure would have been helpful.
I can't really, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Like, what? Can you give me an example of when a masculine figure would be helpful in my life?
When a boyfriend might have broke up with you, and you didn't want to talk to your mom because she just didn't get it, and you wanted a strong, stable man to say you're beautiful.
I think, I mean, I have, if my father was like, you're beautiful, that'd be cool. But like, if my mom was also like, you're beautiful, I don't really see a difference between.
Well, I mean, in that specific situation he brought up, the father might know just a bit more about being a young man, or he can listen to the situation and try and discern it better, because the mom's only going to know from the experience of what the man did to her, but how she felt, but she's not going to know exactly what the men did.
like my mom saying it and my father saying
Wow.
it.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I don't see the world that way, because there's being a father to a daughter. There's a very unique bond between a father and a daughter, where it's you fall in love again, but not romantic love. You fall in a different type of Greek love, which is called storge, which is a father-daughter love, where you have such affection for this incredible being, and your task is to shepherd that vulnerable, innocent girl through life all the way up until the marriage aisle, to kind of connect the two topics together, right? Where then you hand it off to another man, because women are worthy of protection.
So you're saying like there has to be a man in the woman's life.
Not
The
has
woman
to,
can't be
not-
like alone.
No, there are exceptions, but it is a beautiful ideal. And when that ideal falls apart, now let's talk about the technical side. In the Black community, when fathers are no longer around, crime goes up, poverty goes up, because you'll understand this less, and a man in the audience who grew up without a father will totally get this. If it's just a mom in the house, the dad should come in and discipline the 14-year-old for acting like a brat. The dad comes in and he says, stop doing this. You need to be able to outrank the 14-year-old brat with another masculine figure.
But don't.
And these 14-year-old brats, as he says, in the Black community, most of them do not have that. And you want to know where they get their discipline from? The street. And you want to know what usually happens? Dead. Jail. Usually nothing good. Obviously, there's outliers. The kids acting up in the Black community are not outliers.
You think that like
They're the
there's a
majority.
reason that a lot of the Black community doesn't have a father, and it's because of systemic racism. It's because like Black men are more likely to be in prison.
Oh yeah, so why do people go to prison?
For like a lot of the time it's because they're in poverty and they have no other way to get.
Okay, so they commit crimes.
Because
Yeah, but so wait, so
does poverty create crime, or does crime create poverty? That's the question.
Why do they
So wait, if you're
commit
so
crimes?
in poverty, we should give excuses for committing crime?
Yes, because if they have no
Like murder?
I did not say murder. I said I'm saying like if someone is stealing something because they have no money and there's no
That's
jobs.
so interesting. So you think most crimes are crimes of necessity in the Black community?
No.
I'm not saying most.
So like gangbanging is like a crime of necessity?
That I
mean,
literally never said that.
in the-
I'm saying
But
like
you're
I'm
making an
neighborhoods
argument
they
of crimes
grow
of
up, it
necessity.
almost
They're so
is.
hungry they can't handle it.
I'm talking about like crime that has to do with like getting food, getting stuff that you need to live.
Right, but we have food stamps for anyone that needs it. So that doesn't exist. We have subsidized housing for anyone that needs it. So that doesn't exist. We have free healthcare for any poor person that wants it, called Medicaid. That doesn't exist. We also have welfare, cash, for anyone that wants it. So that doesn't exist. So what is it they're missing that they need to go? Sorry about that.
Well, the food, like a lot of food stamps might not cover all of what they need, and also housing is like there's not unlimited housing. A lot of people who are unhoused have to like go to shelters, and then they get kicked out of shelters because there's a mandatory stay limit. So it's not like you
but
just get
it's not
a house.
It's not a stuff thing, though, right? It's like if you need stuff, there's also tons of charities out there that can provide assistance. Churches, you will not go hungry in this country. You will not starve in this country.
Yes, you will.
I mean, when I grew up, we were homeless a lot, and we had to live in a shelter. And after we got out that shelter, they helped us get into another place. We were always on food stamps. So, I mean, I was not starving and hungry. I mean, there were times I was hungry, yeah, but there was a government safety net. That's my point.
There's like,
No, we have an
you've been on
obesity
State
problem.
Street?
We have an obesity problem, not a starvation problem in this country.
What are you talking
In
about?
State Street, if any one of those people went to the local Episcopalian church or Methodist church, they will get fed. I guarantee it. If they go to a local food shelter, they will get
Okay,
fed.
but I'm talking. Okay, housing.
For housing, if we have Section 8 subsidized housing in this country, right? If you want to have a roof over your head, you can have a roof over your head.
with like thousands of rules, and you can't
Yes,
do.
of course, yes. I mean,
like,
it's not ideal, but the point.
Typical government freeloader, bro. I was a kid. You see how dumb you sound? What was I supposed to do at 10 years old? So like people literally have no sense these days. They just say whatever. I'm glad you have your free speech, but I will sit here and just say you're absolutely stupid. Kids skipping class for this crap. You know, kids skip class in college for all dumb shit all the time. I volunteer at youth group, and many of them are so troubled with all the family problems. Please pray for the youth of our country. They need to be loved on so much. The youth of our country I'm actually pretty worried because they're not as educated as they should be. A lot of them are just living in terrible situations. It's not good. But to sit there and call it someone who was a kid a typical government freeloader, that's hilarious. If you don't like government freeloaders, then how could you like where do you stand in life then? Because there's always going to be people. He said better vote Trump. What? Oh, he's so far back in the dang stream or something. Let's continue. We're not worried about him.
So let's just go back to
Let
the
him
crime of
rant.
necessity, right?
They
So
just need
why
someone
do
to
people
put
commit
their
crimes?
hate.
I'm not saying why all people commit crimes. I'm saying there are people who commit crimes because they have no other choice.
Got it. So why is it that other people that are as poor as they are in separate racial groups don't commit crimes at the same rates? For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit over 50% of the crimes. Why is that?
I have a
black,
job.
Black people, I would say, not blacks.
Okay,
but
it's not. I can say white, so you wouldn't care. So
anyway,
now, hold on.
really
I right? I can say Hispanics, you wouldn't care. So don't
I think
police
I might,
my language.
but whatever. I'm not policing your language.
I don't make money off of this. I'm doing this for the love of the game. Like, I have a real job. I do this because I want to do this in my future. So I'm putting in the work.
I'm just saying I would say black
Fair
people.
enough, but the insinuation is that I'm being racist. But that's fine.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
your opinion.
Yeah, but so black Americans are 13% of the population and commit anywhere between 50 to 56% of.
You're right, Raptor. A lot of black people don't want to go to work. I know. I work overnight. Not overnight, but I work late shifts so I can do this and do research.
Murders, crimes, carjackings. Why is that?
I got another job interview
The
tomorrow,
white
bro.
population
Trust me.
is living in the same level of poverty.
Got it. So
Getting
there's
some of my
twice
money.
as many white Americans in poverty as black Americans. Not the same percentage, but still, if you look at white Americans in poverty, they commit far less crimes than black Americans in poverty. Why is that?
Maybe it's because when you're in a store, like they follow black people and they don't follow white people.
What about murder?
Rural?
No, but why is it that, like, just saying murder, why is it that black people commit?
Just, I guess, the best future for me that I can maybe succeed on exploring this channel more. That's really it. Everything else, I'm pretty good. What about you, Miss Lisa?
So many more
The white people
murders.
live in rural
Like, that's not, you're being followed in a store and you commit more murders?
Yeah.
You're making the rule, or I'll get to you in a sec, but
Okay,
it's not,
anyway.
it's not a good argument. But let me just go back to what you said. Systemic
Whatever, you're
racism,
good.
right? So the idea of systemic is that it's
Yeah.
within our laws. There are some black Americans here listening.
Oops.
What
Sorry,
can
guys.
you as a white American do that the black American cannot do?
Let's see. I
Nothing.
could go into a store and not get followed.
I've
The
never been
police-
followed
like,
in
the
the store
police
for being
could
black.
not track me down on like when I'm driving. I'm less likely to get shot and killed while I'm driving.
Get some tinted windows, people. Something shit. Then you can't make that argument. Maybe we should just make everyone tint their windows so they can't make the argument of being driving while black anymore.
There's a lot of things that I can do.
Okay, so just be clear. So if you walk into a local CVS here,
Tint
how
all
would you guys
windows
be
at
treated
this point.
differently?
Well,
Fuck
I
it.
would they would probably say hello, and they would probably like just walk, like let me in and like not follow me, and then
So these are a
if-
lot of probablys. I don't believe you, but I'm talking about laws, right? So what in the legal code of America can you as a white individual do that the black individual can't? Because systemic means it's in our code, right? It's like, it's, for example, like Jim Crow, totally get it. That's systemic racism.
I don't believe there's anything that a person, I need help truly finding forgiveness in my heart. Then I will say a prayer for you with that. It's hard to forgive people, isn't it? I've gone through that a lot. I can't even say I'm the best at that, so that's a good one. But what was I was gonna make a point right now. I forgot. That's okay.
What is systemic?
Oh, I remember. There's absolutely nothing that any one race or any other person can't do, in my opinion. Honestly, feel like you can almost do anything if you just put in the effort. That's why I'm posting and just gonna keep posting, because eventually it's gonna work out. Especially if you put your focus on a single effort, it's gonna work out. Eventually. You might go through some ups and downs, or in the middle of it, you might find out you don't even want to do this. Like when I got my truck license, I don't even want to do it. Like middle of the class. I finished the class, but I didn't like driving trucks. I don't like the way they drive. They're so wobbly. So yeah.
Your advantage.
Maybe like housing codes, because I know.
Let's get back to telling kids they can do whatever they want in life with hard work, determination, and the right attitude towards things, than to keep telling young minority kids that the government's against you and the you're going to be held back by this and held back by that. Because that's what I was like. That's where it started creeping in when I was younger, where they started telling kids this stuff, and it really can mess with a kid's mind. Like, the imagination of a child can really propel them to do some great things growing up. I really think that.
Redlining isn't a thing anymore, but there is like, isn't there people who?
Because you know how it is when you get older, when you pass 18. Yeah, tell kids that you're a boy or a girl, and then let them figure things out. But you know how it gets when you start getting past a certain age, where you're just like, you feel there's a timeline on things. You're too scared to jump into new things that you really want to do in life, because you're scared it's going to derail your normal life. But if we need to start telling adults they can do whatever the hell they want to, as long as it's something that's going to benefit you, and as well as probably give some benefit to someone else, then I feel like you're on the right track. Yeah.
Are white are more likely to be given loans because of like they have less like I don't know, that's just the like it's back from redlining, like it's a lot of the same stuff.
So I don't buy into any of that. So I just kind of go.
You don't buy into redlining, or you don't buy
into redlining. I don't buy any of that stuff that happens. In fact, it's the opposite. Loans are now given favorably to Black Americans in certain cities over white Americans.
Okay, but
so we
you
could,
think
because
redlining?
of I believe in. I know redlining existed.
Okay,
I don't debate that. Of course, but because of DE.
My thing with this stuff, like the last couple questions, is like, so do we right the wrong of discrimination by discriminating against the other side, or do we right the wrong of discrimination by putting strong laws and more ways for someone to speak out if they are, or if they do feel they're being discriminated against? But a lot of these kids on these college campuses, they're not being discriminated against like that. I mean, people have their biases and the way they think about things, but a lot of that comes from their experience, like, and things that they've gone through. But I just can't sit here and say that this country is like discriminating against people my color. Like, you'll get canceled in a heartbeat if you say something wild against someone of my color, or like, no, you'll have the mainstream liberal media calling you inhumane if you say anything or even just speak about the crime rates in the black community, even to this day. Yeah, Greta, she's just like, you can just see it in her eyes. Like if you just saw the recent pictures with her and the boat crap, you can see it in her eyes. Like it just, it's like you just don't even see the substance of what she does. I don't know. I'm not calling her stupid, not at all. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, if you're selling a damn boat to Israel in the middle of open sea water, I mean, waters, yeah, you're kind of fucking stupid. For doing that, I'll take that back. You dumb. Like they were really gonna do.
Yeah, and because of
anything,
affirmative action,
but just
there's actually a
drama.
preference given. But so let's go back to fathers, right?
Okay, let's go back to fathers.
So
yeah, that's a word
something
for it,
happened
brain fog.
to
Just
Black
like,
America since 1965.
kind of want to
So
find
in
that picture.
1965. So
You mean the war on drugs?
right. Well, so if that's your contention, that's fine. So in order to go to jail for the war on drugs, you have to be dealing drugs, right? Or you have to be caught with drugs. So if you don't
Which is one of like the main jobs that you can have in a like poverty-stricken. Like if there's no jobs, like you're going to do drugs. I mean, you're gonna trade drugs because that's the only option
It's
you
such
have.
a difference in worldview. You're making
That's not true. You do not have to sell drugs to create money. Lord have mercy. There are some racist police, but I don't think it's a systematic thing. I don't think it's a values problem. You can find it if you look for it, though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You definitely can. I mean, there's one thing I just don't think it's a widespread systematic thing like they're trying to say, but definitely there's some people out there that are racist as hell. I believe that to my core. And they could be a cop, they could be a judge, they could be a senator, they could be anything. But systematically, especially with the way you'll be put on blast by the mainstream media, especially if you're in a position of power. Like if you look at any of the people on the Democrats right now, if anything kind of to the minority side, if anything happens to them, the first thing they're screaming is racism. Hopefully maybe it's going to go away just because they're devaluing the word so much. Because there's a lot of black people who feel they can't be racist because they're not in a position of a power structure, even though there's lots of black people in positions of power around the country. So it's not that. It's just you can be racist. You don't need to be in power to be racist. I genuinely hate when black people say that. Oh, I can't be racist to white people. They're the ones in power. Okay. I mean, the House Minority Leader, the House Senate Leader, what is it? The Senate Leader or the minority or the House? They're black. They're in a position of power. And he's the one who screams racism all the time. It's like, bro, look in your own shoes for a second and realize what you do every day. Kidding me?
excuses for
And if there really are so many racist people, then call them out. But then when they call him out, just like they did with Charlie calling him racist, he's not racist. That's what I'm saying. When I was growing up, I was told don't trust white people. It was just like the same thing that they were upset about. I don't really see how Trump is racist either, but okay. Just like they say about what is it? I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. The comment threw me off.
Criminals.
Yeah,
and what
remember.
an insult to poor immigrants that came to this country that didn't commit crimes and worked 2 or 3 jobs and worked themselves out of poverty and didn't decide to go deal coke.
Well, my father is a white immigrant from Poland, and he committed crimes, and he's fine now. So
Did he go to jail?
Yeah, he did.
I thought there was systemic racism. I thought that doesn't happen very much.
I never said white people don't go to jail. I said they go more, and you're saying that white immigrants are fine and they don't.
No,
I'm
that's
saying
far
that they
less
do.
actually. I'm glad he went to jail if he committed a crime. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but at the core of it, we have a difference in worldview, right? My worldview is I'm not sympathetic to people that steal, that loot, and murder, because that's a values problem, and I don't like making excuses for people that do things that are obviously destructive. Secondly, we have a problem in Black America.
I like blue. That's
the biggest problem is not racism. It's the lack of dads. If dads are around, kids flourish. And you know who agreed with me? Barack Obama. Barack Obama used to make this a central piece of his campaign. He came to this campus back in 2012, drew like a 100,000 person crowd, and talked about how we need to rebuild the black family and put dads back. Why doesn't the Democrat Party talk about that anymore?
I'm fine with having
No,
fathers.
no,
I'm not against having black dads.
For sure. I'm saying, but don't we agree? Has anyone
But-
heard that mentioned on the national scale in the
It's
last?
just her original statement, which I do remember. She just said, "Why does it matter, though?" And he's telling her like, kids will have better outcomes. That if I think it should be preference if the parents are decent human beings and actually have a good life. Do you think there is any truth to some of the Democrats actually being the racists because they don't give you enough credit to believe in you? Yeah, absolutely. The fact that they just like they're always on this like these poor disadvantaged, and it's I don't know. That's kind of how I feel with the DEI stuff. You know, it's like, so you're saying these kids can't be good enough on their own merit? Like, why can't I don't get it. You know, that's a good question. I wish I could. No, but that's a good question. I can't put comments on the screen, or I would. Maybe I can. I don't think I can. No, I can't. Oh yeah, I can. I think. Yeah. Ooh, look at me learning. Do you think there is any truth to some of the Democrats actually being the racists because they don't give you enough credit to believe in you? Yeah. Yeah. Lisa, we were quite literally the other night. I think that was my last stream. I was going over the corrupt politicians, and Biden is just wow. Like, I didn't even get to all of his because he has like 4 parts.
10 years?
Yeah,
I mean, we've heard about
probably
like
not.
yeah, and
Because
why
there's
is that?
bigger issues.
No, there isn't. See, that's the issue, is that this is what makes us different. As a conservative, I focus on if you have family breakdown, don't worry about climate change. Don't worry about systemic racism. All that stuff is like these crazy
Well,
abstractions.
you
Make
can
your own-
create family problems. Systemic racism
you
creates
gotta make your own bed first.
family problems. If you take away black people from their families, then they're going to have
Right.
broken families.
Okay, so, but that's interesting. How are you taking them away? Aren't they leaving? They're not staying with the women they're impregnating. So, for example, there 13% of the population is black. Not every single person ends up in jail, obviously. And yet there's huge child abandonment because there's a cultural expectation that is different in black America than in white America, which is it's okay to impregnate a woman and abandon her in black America. It's not
based on what? What is that based on?
That's a good question. Where does it come from? It's just based on
No, I'm saying, what is that,
I mean-
like, your view of black America?
Well, it's not a view. It's true. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look at Thomas Sowell and Shelby Steele that have done amazing analysis on this. It's that in black culture, that is not considered to be a stigma. In white upper middle class culture, for those of you that grew up in Waukesha,
If anyone actually really if you really want to learn a lot about the black community and the family breakdown and why, and not just think anyone commenting on it is being racist, please go listen to Thomas Sowell. Please do. Maybe I'll have to do a video and a stream just on his work because he's a black man and he breaks it down very, very well. So.
or Libertyville, or grew up in Hinsdale, or grew up in
I don't even think
Naperville,
you
you guys
need
all
to
know
be
those
black
neighborhoods.
to be able
If
to
you
break it down. But
impregnate
that's just
a
like
girl,
the thing people
a
do
woman,
nowadays.
and you just like
you don't
abandon
have,
her,
you don't
that's
have a say.
frowned
You're
upon.
not
That is a
black.
social
Okay.
stigma in upper middle class white culture.
Not true.
And it's not in black culture?
No. In fact, it's glorified by the rap culture. It is.
I think
Yes.
rap culture is showing what happened. I don't think it's.
Do you think that the songs that are the most popular in Black America are uplifting Black America to be better versions of themselves?
I think the most popular
Like Nicki
songs in-
Minaj, Cardi B. Do you think that they're like empowering people to?
That's the thing. Like, I'm just gonna bring it to this topic real quick. So, like in Chicago, where JB, whatever his Pritzker's name is, saying, "Oh, our crime is really good. Like, it's going down. It's safe here." But like, they do know that was like there's something called drill rap in Chicago, right? And I don't know if you guys know what drill rap is. Drill rap, most of the time, they're either making up things about going to go shooting, killing people, but they're literally rapping about the crimes they committed. Like it was so bad at one point. You want to just go look up King Von. You'll know. You'll find out he was literally a serial killer and rapped about it. And people are wondering why people say that the inner cities of Chicago are terrible. Like, they're beefing with someone on 64th Street and they live on 63rd. Come on. Like, you can't walk a block without being shot?
To be great.
Well, I do think Cardi B and Nicki Minaj are empowering, but when you talk about like
Wow.
black, like let's go like Kendrick or whatever, like they're talking about their life experiences and they're saying this is what happened to me, and people relate to that because that's also what happened to them. It's not saying
Yeah, and like in the example I just gave, they just said, this is what happened to me, even though it didn't happen to them. A lot of them were actively seeking to go do this stuff. It's called going on the drill. And then they would play this music while they're on the drill. How is this like this happened to me? They didn't need, no one asked them to go drill. And like that dude in the back said, he said they made it profitable. They literally profited. I can't say that word. What is it? Profitized? Whatever. That's a yeah, they made it profitable to go and kill. Tupac was seen. Yeah, a lot of people, yeah, they're all worried about carrying an image.
this is the greatest thing in the entire
Does
world.
it lift up the audience to become better?
I would think so. Because it's like
How?
Because it's saying we all relate to this. We can all like this is our story. We can be like better than this. Even though it's like there's better, there's not better. It depends on what your worldview is, but I think that rap is good because it can like
No, I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm saying like the essence, the core, the
certain rap
ethos
music
is
is
not
good, though. A
exactly
lot of
about
people
like
use
quitting
it to get
drinking,
their
quitting
feelings
drugs,
and stuff
and
out.
getting married and
Then a
having
lot of
children.
rap
no, it's about what
music is
you
toxic
have
as
done, not about
good.
like
No, but just like to be clear, like in black rap culture, is it generally glorified to go sleep with a lot of women?
I mean that's your view of it.
I'm asking a question. Is
It's
it
not a
in black
view. It
rap
says
culture?
yes.
I
Yes
think
or no, guys, in black rap culture,
is glorify women.
to be able to sleep with a lot of women.
I mean I think that's one aspect, yeah.
Okay, so let's just take that aspect.
Because it's a luxury that people can do, and like it's one of the things that people can do and everyone can relate to.
Okay, what about
Or
the luxury
a lot
of
of people can
killing?
relate to.
Shouldn't ideally
or doing
your
a bunch of
culture
drugs? Like what?
try to elevate
Is that a
and
luxury?
try to challenge the
They rap
individual
about it.
to virtue and goodness, not try to bring them down to the lowest parts of
No,
their...
who is?
Thank you,
I'm,
sir.
Again, I'm not saying that they are bringing them down. I'm saying that this
Yeah,
is
if you
what
guys can
they
hit the
are
like
doing,
button.
and they are sharing their experiences.
I think it
They're
helps
not
get
saying,
people to watch.
This is the best
I don't
thing
know
in the
how it
entire
works.
world. They're saying this is what I have been through.
like sleeping with a lot of women.
Yeah.
Or like gang violence and,
I mean, if that's what like a lot of people have been through gang violence because that's what's happening in their neighborhoods. They feel like that's the only option, and you might know that that's
I feel like a lot of older rap, you could say that it could have been more experience, but now there's kids just becoming rappers to do this stuff and to make money for going out and doing heinous things. I feel like the rap culture has drastically changed for the worse.
not the only option. But when you are living in that neighborhood
Got it.
and you don't see any jobs, this is how your family was raising you, what other option do you have? And once you're in it, it's really hard to get out.
So got it. You talk about systemic racism and that being a major driver of Black America's failure to launch, if you will. We subsidize single motherhood in this country.
That's okay.
So if you stay single
I mean,
as a single mother, you get money from the federal government.
there's a lot of
and it's
subscribers
basically
on
subsidized,
here.
if you will.
Sure.
I run this channel
at
for
least
DirecTV,
agree that
but
if the nuclear family in Black America was
eventually
stronger
there will
and
be
tighter,
lots and lots of people in here, I promise.
In a lot of cases, yeah. I
But-
think
For now, it's kind of cool because it's a little bit more personal. So
think if they're like if
Like with
the
the
father's
comment
abusive,
section.
I would not want him there. So I think it really depends on like what family you're talking about. I don't think you can generalize
What
and
percentage of fathers do you think are abusive?
say I have no idea.
Yeah, I would say it's probably small, right?
That's a good
Not
question.
like I don't know. I have no idea. I have not done research on
Yeah,
what,
no,
what
I don't know
percentage
the
of
number either,
fathers.
but
are
generally
abusive.
it's good when mom and dad stays around and is raising the kid.
I would say if they are both healthy parents
Wow,
and
they
they
don't
are
have
both
a
ready to have a
statistic.
child,
Yeah,
it's
different.
great.
Got it.
My father, not ready to have a child, do not want him around
Just
me.
one last question on role models.
23%
Let's say there's
in the
a
fiscal
black
year
kid
between
right now. Would you rather have that black
2019
kid have
and
a
2020. But they've been talking for a fat minute. There we go. All right, let's just hear another question, another point of view.
Good. My first question it relates with Donald Trump's morals and characters. Morals and character.
Okay.
Excuses are often made for him, but that is not
Speak good one. Wow, was that the first ad?
been the case for most presidents. And I'd
That's
like
crazy.
to discuss that with you.
It's an hour-long
Donald
video.
Trump
That was the
has
first ad.
Continuously shown low morals and poor character, and I understand that you are a pretty strong evangelical Christian. Is that correct? And I don't think Donald Trump exemplifies strong Christianity. So I'd like to know what you think about that.
So, great question. So are you a Christian? I just want to know by what standard you're judging him.
I personally am not a Christian.
Okay, so that's interesting to me. Why do you then care about what Christians think of Trump if you yourself are not a Christian?
Well, I believe Christianity still does play a great role in
Okay,
this
good.
country.
Fair enough. No, I just want to know by what standard you're judging him. That's fine. So when you're selecting a leader, all of us are sinners. All of us have problems.
Appreciate it, Raptor.
His character flaws are definitely public for those that can see it. I will say, though, that he has a lot of virtues. Would you say he has any virtues?
What basis are you saying? What virtues do you think he
Courage.
possesses? Okay, courage. I think,
Like if you and I got shot, how would we react?
well,
I don't even know.
I don't know. I think that we're straying a little bit from the question.
No, but no, it's important though. So, what moral failures in particular do you think are disqualifying from a Christian standpoint for him to serve in office or gain support from Christians?
Well, I actually do have some things pulled up, and I did read some scripture in preparation as well. Would you mind if I provided some of that?
Sure, give me one or two examples.
Yeah,
and as long as you're applying the standard consistently, so for example, King David, Samson, Daniel, Joseph, and many figures in the Bible who are considered to be virtuous and righteous, because we're all sinners, and you know that.
Sure.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
Please give me some examples.
Yeah, well, I'd like to quote a couple pieces
should like
of
this
scripture.
part, Lisa.
From, it says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, and to value others above yourself." But Trump has continuously put himself over American citizens.
Yeah, let me ask you a question on that. He's gotten poorer since he ran for office. He's lost his business empire. He's been impeached twice, indicted 4 times, facing 700 years in federal prison. How is that putting his own personal ambition first? He's facing life imprisonment, his business empire to be taken away from him. That's actually putting the country above himself, isn't it?
Well, yes, but
I
what
mean-
about him selling golden sneakers?
Well, that's a decent point right there, because I mean, if they were trying to do all that to me, I probably wouldn't even run that. I just want to go back and live my life as a rich person at that point.
Selling branded Bibles, which he claims to be the only one he endorses, $100,000 watches.
So yeah, I mean, but selling products to try to pay for legal fees is probably understandable, right?
but he was-
How much do you think he's spending in legal fees a month?
Isn't that telling that he's a 34-time convicted felon, though?
Well, that's interesting. So do you think the standard of justice is equally applied of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton?
Well,
Hell
But
no.
look what you guys said about Hillary.
Absolutely not. We literally just watched last stream Hillary, and we talked about Hillary Clinton. How do you not go to jail or something? That's insane.
Hold on. That's very important, though, because do you think that Donald Trump would be experiencing this kind of criminality against him if his name wasn't Trump?
Yes.
Really?
I do.
So then why is it that no one's ever been indicted for what he got convicted for ever before in New York history?
Isn't that a great question?
Yes.
Why hasn't he been indicted?
No. Why has no one else ever been indicted for what he was indicted for? They made up a crime, the first ever, for Donald Trump.
I don't.
So let me ask you, as from a Christian perspective, we all fall short of the glory of God.
Correct.
Okay, amen. And throughout the Bible, people who are sinners, such as I mentioned King David, who did a lot worse things than Donald Trump. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the story of King David. He literally not only committed adultery, he got the person he committed adultery with, Bathsheba's husband, sent him to the front of the line, got him murdered and killed so that he continued to commit adultery. Yet he was a man after God's own heart. We have Samson, who literally, when God came upon Samson, he was in a bed with prostitutes and was in the Hall of Faith in the book of Hebrews. We are not electing Donald Trump as a pastor of this country. We're electing him as a president. And we also see what he does. And this is a very important moral question. Let's say I grant you that Donald Trump embodies some of the sins that you and I both don't like. Is it matter more of what he's done in his personal life? Or does it matter more, for example, when you invade a sovereign country like Iraq and commit war crimes against millions of people?
Well, Donald Trump has contrasted multiple Christian values, but I don't.
Well, hold on, this is important though. Have we ever heard the mainstream media or yourself come up and say, how could a Christian vote for George W. Bush? Have you ever heard that argument?
No, but
well, hold on. George W. Bush invaded a sovereign country under lies and pretenses, and thousands of American soldiers died, and hundreds of thousands have PTSD, and millions of people had their lives displaced. We never say that George W. Bush was a bad Christian, yet Donald Trump was the one that didn't declare any new wars. Blessed are the peacemakers. Donald Trump was the one that fought for the unborn and got abortion, Roe versus Wade repealed, and we have abortion laws across the country that are pro-life. The point is that it's easy to nitpick at Donald Trump's personal life, but what he actually did to impact the country was far greater than other presidents that called themselves Christians in years past.
Okay.
I mean, that's a fair point.
It still doesn't quite make sense why
I don't even like
a
necessarily
Christian would vote for him. But I appreciate your input.
I mean, I don't really like his question because I just don't like that question he asked. It's extremely subjective.
I guess I put that very vaguely. I don't
Maybe that's not the
understand
right word for it, but
how
I just don't
Christians
like
are
it.
okay with
I don't
so
like
much
the
that he does
question.
because he also refuses to accept responsibility and take accountability.
Well, but because we read the Bible, and the Bible is full of people that have very, very difficult, let's just say, colorful lives, and still are used for God's purpose. And and by the way, it's very easy to say, are you a sinner? You're not a Christian, but let's just say,
Yes, I've sinned.
yeah, we're all sinners. And so we look at Donald Trump and we say, wow, this is a guy who's obviously broken. We're all broken. And what do you do with your broken life? Do you just golf all the time and fly around the world and hope things get better? Or do you get in the arena and fight for the country to the extent of where you get shot, you're under assassination attempts every day, and your business empire gets taken from you? That's incredible.
Every time I hit a bottleneck, I build a new AI employee to crush it.
That's
I used
so
to
weird
say that I
that
had
you do it.
one AI employee.
This is
working
Charlie's video.
Incredible virtue
That's
that
why
I'm going to teach
I'm
my
like,
kids
why aren't-
about and say, even if
Literally
your
Charlie
back
Kirk's
is against the
video,
wall, you
they've
keep
only
on
given
fighting.
2
I think
ads.
that's
I don't-
incredibly virtuous.
Okay, and I understand I'm not
stupid.
going to change your mind on this. So this is
You,
mostly.
you asked for an explanation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. So I respect that.
And
now,
we're at the
you
end of the
mentioned
video, too.
Children
That's-
that you have and raising them.
Unless
by-
I just don't
by
remember because it's
moral-
been
I
2
mean, this
hours,
is
but
somebody who's running for the president of the United
that's
States.
kind of messed up.
And as a matter of fact, traditional Christian theologian and philosopher Albert Schweitzer said that example is not the main thing in influencing others, it is the only thing. Now, the words of the president matter, and I understand you're raising 2 children. So he has been on track calling prisoners of wars losers. He lied to
He
dodge
has
the
never said that is not correct. That is a total lie, but that's fine. So
Brainwashed.
lied to dodge the military.
that is also not correct, but fine.
Called citizens vermin.
Well, he called foreigners in the country that have broken into the country vermin.
Okay.
You know who he called vermin? He called the Venezuelan gang members that rape women vermin. Can we all agree that they're vermin, everybody? Yeah. But that's fine. Just keep going. Yeah, I mean.
And his continuous bullying and name calling. I
Yeah,
don't
he
think
does
that's a
do that.
virtue you'd like to.
No, this is important. I want to say that, okay, let's pretend all that's right. Let's pretend that you weren't being fed misinformation.
For me, when I'm looking at the president, I don't care if you're going to name call someone. Just don't call for someone to die. And they have freedom of speech, too. People act like presidents don't have freedom of speech. I do find it interesting when the Bible is used by people who haven't read the whole thing. Yeah, that's why I don't go out quoting the Bible. I haven't read the whole thing. Like,
No, but I want to be clear. What is more virtuous? The guy that says stuff he shouldn't say, or the person that sends
like they nitpick little things and then they try and use that to prove something wrong, even though they, yeah.
$200 billion on unnecessary war in Ukraine, so 1 million people die. You have to choose. Which one would you rather have? Someone that talks sloppily or someone that funds wars around the world?
Okay, I was in the middle of my question.
No,
and
no,
you
no, no. It's
interrupted it to
important though.
ask your own though, and I
well,
was.
no, it's important because I wanted to hear from you though,
Didn't
because
seem
you
like he was
obviously are not
asking
a
a
supporter of
question.
Trump, and Trump is
He
constantly
was
under this attack that he's
spouting
immoral and he's
off things
terrible.
that he
Yet we
didn't like.
never judge the actions of our leaders who continue to have wars around the world where people die. Is that immoral to do?
It is immoral, but you're.
I agree. So then why are we so fixated on the language of Trump and not on the actions of our current leaders?
Well, first of all, our current leader Biden is not running for presidency this year.
Well, no, but the vice president is actually, and she's
he
also
was.
in charge.
She is, but not in charge the same way Joe Biden is currently.
Well, Joe Biden's certainly not in charge. So who's running the government?
Who is running? What's your answer to that?
I don't know.
I
Like,
don't
we don't
know.
know who's running the
We
government.
still don't
actually,
know.
and it's horrifying. I mean, Kamala Harris went to the Munich Security
Yeah, I
Conference.
feel like even if
and
you do read
provoked
it, you
Vladimir
still
Putin to
shouldn't use the Bible to try and go after another person's moral character. Like, okay, you read it, you liked it, you understand it, follow it for yourself. Like, and like this guy, I'm pretty sure he doesn't read it, and he's out here trying to use it to pass judgment on someone, which is wild.
invade Ukraine. She was in charge of the border. She was the border czar. The point is this, is that you can look through Donald Trump's language. People say he lies. He actually exaggerates, and those are two different things. But Donald Trump doesn't get in trouble for his exaggerations. He gets in trouble for telling the truth. And I'll give you an example. He gets in trouble for all of a sudden saying, oh, wow, the border's wide open.
That's the
You're not
theme
allowed to
of
say
our
that.
stream today. Truth.
You seem super happy. Have a great day. Thank you.
I love you, Charlie.
Thank you, guys. No, but I want to try to find
This is
some
a
common
good
ground
end to the
here and try to
video.
see where you could. Well, I'm not going to make an excuse for everything a human being has done that it's not myself.
Sure.
But I will say that his track record of action has been very good for the country, and that is irrefutable.
Well, okay. May I?
In
finish
summary,
my-
yes, and then we'll get to another question.
Okay. So what I was going to say is, right now with Hurricane Helene and Milton, he is profusely lying and criticizing the Biden and Harris administration. But local officials
How?
By saying he's siphoning money out for illegal immigrants.
No, that's totally true.
But that's
FEMA
not true.
Hold
FEMA
on.
said it's not
You guys
true.
could hold on a second. FEMA literally says in their press release that they had a fund dedicated towards the southern border being a natural disaster, and they spent billions of dollars accommodating foreigners in this country with luxury hotels and interior flights. You can look at it yourself. FEMA gets money appropriated, and they decided to spend that money on the southern border and not on hurricane relief or tornado relief.
Okay.
That's a fact. And by the way, I'm not alone in that. A lot of senators agree. You can look it up yourself. I don't know, but see that's not a lie though. But you're accusing him of being a liar when he's telling the truth. You just made my point.
No, but you keep interrupting me. You're not letting me finish anything.
Because you're
I
not.
say.
First of all, this is not your hour. This is my hour. You're asking me questions,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Secondly,
well,
just
but does that mean you get to respect me differently?
well, I
than
know I'm
the way
totally
I
respecting you, but if you're saying something that's not true, I'm not going to waste our time on that. Make one final point, please, about Donald Trump's character.
Local government officials have commended the job that Biden and Harris have done in giving them the aid they need. But Trump, in his rallies, he is making up stories, and he is taking advantage of people when they are most vulnerable for
Again,
political.
This is not true.
For
but
political points.
Okay,
And
why don't you go yourself to West North Carolina and tell me if it's going well? Okay, tell me if it's going well, because it's not actually. You could talk to local official after local official. I don't know where you're getting your information from, but please make one final point, and then we'll get to the next person.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. You're not
Well,
Trump. You're not a Trump guy, right?
Correct. But I also know I'm not changing your mind. And
No, but I want to try to find morally where you're coming from. Would you rather have a president who sleeps around, exaggerates, and sells merchandise for himself, but we have no World War III and a good economy?
I think that's an exaggeration.
Hold on.
Exaggeration.
Well, hold on.
Yay, another
When it came
ad.
time to take things to the next level, I knew
I
that
don't
I
get
had
why
to
they're
make a
doing it
website,
at the end of
and
the
Wix.
video.
One second. Or would you rather have a president that speaks crisply and we have World War III and a wide open border and a terrible economy? You have to choose. Which would you have?
Well, I know I don't have time to answer this, but I'd actually.
It's an A or B choice.
Well, no, but I'd love to talk to you about it because I don't think the economy would be terrible under Harris and Walz. I don't.
Are
you kidding me?
How's the economy right now?
Okay, so that's something I would love to
Holy
talk
moly.
to you about more time.
No,
because,
really quick. Is the economy good or bad right now?
Like they scream about inflation. I have to go to bed. I have to get up early, but thank you for this. I hit the bell, so I hope to see more of your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Lisa. That's okay. The video was literally, we got 2 more minutes and I'm getting off too. So don't feel bad. Thank you though.
Okay, so right now, from 2020 with global supply chain
Good
shortages.
noise.
Exactly.
This is the problem with college is that they try to overly complicate the simple. Is the economy good or bad right now?
So
exactly.
So
Economy was
inflation
so
right
bad.
now-
It's
I mean, like inflation went all the way up to 9% at one point. 9%. And I had just started working. Like that. I just got like a really good job. So it was like, dude, oh my goodness.
And
horrible,
inflation right now is 2.4%, which is right on par with the other G7
Guys, can you afford regular things that you want to afford? See, this is what I'm talking about. Is that you got to get out of the clouds and listen to real people.
No, but that's
80% of Americans say the economy is horrible. Why do they say that?
I mean, this is a nuanced answer. It would take nuance, and I want to ask you, what would Trump do to fix this economy? Because his tariff
Exactly
plan would
what he
actually
did for
increase
4 years, because the economy was great when Trump was president.
Yes, in
drill
20
baby drill, deregulate, cut taxes, empower entrepreneurs, and allow people to invest in America again.
So
when Trump was president, the economy was objectively better. People remember it as better because it was better. The question is this: why do people think the economy is so bad right now?
So, because in 2020, global supply chain shortages, and after COVID, demand shot up, which put upwards pressure on prices. It caused inflation. That's an excuse to price gouge. Right now, inflation is down, but there has not been a price correction. Now, Trump's tariff.
You are again. You seem like a nice, sweet person. You are so deceived. I got to get to the next question, which is that you did not answer the question. Most Americans
He seems
think
really
the economy is
articulate,
crummy.
but it
Most
just doesn't
Americans
seem
think
like
it was
he's
better
getting the
under
right
Trump.
information.
I'm going to trust the wisdom of everyday Americans, not the proven wrong academics that refuse to talk to real everyday people. So I'm not going to change your mind on it. Thank you for being here today.
No, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you for the talk.
Thank you.
They still had a respectful conversation. No, he was right at that point about the COVID supply chains, but though that's the same excuse they'll use on the opposite to say Donald Trump's first economy was bad but then they don't realize up until COVID things were actually pretty decent. And so yeah, COVID messed up both presidencies to a certain extent, but they also just didn't have a good economy. But with that, thank you guys for coming and sitting here with me for 2 hours. We will be back most likely tomorrow with another video. That's what I'm getting off to do right now. It's about to get off to go plan for tomorrow. So thank you guys for coming. I hope you all have a good night. If it's late, have a good night. If it's super early, have a good morning. And I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for coming into another stream of Street News Network. Like I always say, if you guys have any clips that you want to send in or any news things that's local in your area or anything, please email Street News Network 16@gmail.com, and I will look at your clips and I will put them on here. But again, thank you so much and have a good night. Bye.